have done and dealt with a long time ago. Trevor.
Yeah. Really, thank you. You know what discourages me the most is to see that these are young people that are being used politically to inflict injuries to fellow youth. You know, it has never made sense to me why a fellow youth would be used to, or even you as a youth you'd allow yourself to be used by a politician to fight your fellow youth. It's so disheartening. I thought we're educated, we have literacy now. These are things we should not be seeing in 2026. It breaks my heart so much to see this going on, and you know, to see that it's the youth out there on the road with such a retrogressive mentality, and to the leaders who are taking advantage of the youth who are jobless, who are desperate out here. You know, they really want that 200 shillings or the 500 shillings, and you know, just because they're desperate for that, then they have to comply and get the weapons and start beating their own people. It's unfair. It's truly disheartening. It breaks my heart all the time when I see those scenes. You know, I saw it yesterday, and I cannot believe this is Kenya. You know, you look at it and you're like, isn't this Haiti? You know, exactly. You look at other countries that have gone down politically, and of course that are currently in chaos, and you see this is a history. They've had a history of such kind of violences, especially politicians using the youth to bring the violence, and it's something that should be condemned. And not just the conversations where we have people and the leaders, those in those dockets that are responsible for protecting the country, to come and condemn, but rather, why don't they just end this, you know, completely? We are tired of the statements they keep making. They don't make sense anymore.
Agree with you completely, and it's about time we just wake up and smell the coffee, and the proper authorities to take charge and end this menace. Now, that aside, today being a Monday, of course, right here on Good Morning Kenya, we get to talk matters, family, and our conversation today will be quite interesting, especially because we'll be having women coming from across different countries. We will be talking about, is marriage still a priority for young people? And I'll be having a panelist of young ladies, as I've mentioned, from all over. We'll be having someone from Kenya, we'll have someone from Rwanda, we'll have someone from Madagascar, Uganda, Bangladesh, and Zambia as well. It's going to be an interesting conversation, so this is the right place for you to be.
Very interesting. And also, when it comes to the world of politics, we saw what happened in Homa Bay, or in the western part of the country. That is regarding the political drumbeats whose sounds keep on getting louder. But besides that, the conversation now has begun on what Kenya needs to look like beyond Vision 2030. Now, Vision 2060 has been proposed as the horizon for the country's next long-term plan. But the question here is, can we sustain a 30-year national development agenda when political changes happen every 5 years? The question we are asking, can we agree on the future, even when it comes to long-term ambitions and short-term politics within the country? That is a conversation I'll be having with Innocent Musombi, who is a political analyst, Balozi Sarah Munyi, who is a leadership and governance expert, Wairimu Gatasha, who is an advocate of the High Court, and David Alulu, who is a political analyst. They will be joining me to take a deep dive into that topic today. Later on, I will also be having the Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, that is Dr. Ouma Oluga. We shall be talking about the reforms within the health sector, as well as the upcoming Health Summit 2026, which will be happening at KICC starting from the 18th to 19th of this month. We want to just see whether the reforms are changing Kenya's experiences, especially when they go to seek healthcare from health centers and hospitals within the country. That is a conversation that will be coming to you at around 8 a.m. Remember, you can be part of every conversation happening right here on KBC Channel 1. We are at KBC Channel 1 on all our social media platforms. Trevor.
Thank you, Mike. And we're live also on different social media platforms like he's mentioned, and we're here on KBC Channel 1. And to warmly welcome you to this program. It's cold outside there, but I warmly welcome you, and I hope that you keep warm. If you're planning to go out or you're going to work this Monday morning, make sure you dress warm. The weather looks like it's going to be cloudy the rest of the day. First, we begin with the news. My name is Trevor Ngendo. We begin with politics, where Linda Mwananchi movement is now raising the alarm of increased political violence and goonism meted out to the opposition. This is after the Linda Mwananchi brigade was attacked as it headed to Homa Bay on Sunday. Journalists were not spared either, with vehicles attached to Sia Governor James Orengo, I beg your pardon, among those affected, prompting the county boss to vow that on Monday, today, he will move to court seeking the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to explain the incident in Homa Bay and Nakuru counties. As Abdiaziz Hashim now tells us, the National Police Service now says that 15 suspects hired to disrupt political activities in Nyanza have been arrested so far.
The Linda Mwananchi grand entry to Homa Bay County for a series of rallies was not a smooth sail. This is after their convoy was attacked by goons armed with stones and other weapons. Huge stones were placed across sections of the roads in an attempt to prevent vehicles from accessing the town, forcing the convoy to find an alternative route to their destination. Police officers accompanying the convoy moved to contain the situation. Journalists were not spared either. The brigade, led by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, condemned the incident and vowed to continue with their campaigns across the country.
Tuliamka asubuhi tukakuta wamefunga barabara, lakini nyinyi watu wa Nyandi wanataka mjipigie makofi kwa sababu muliingia nyinyi wenyewe mukatoa hiyo takataka walikuwa wameweka kwa barabara. Walisema hatuwezi kufika Nyandiwa. Hapa ni wapi?
The National Police Service now says that 15 suspects hired to disrupt political activities have been arrested so far.
I am telling the police, you have failed in your duty. The governor for Homa Bay and the member of parliament for Homa Bay and the member for the county assembly from Diwa, they have waged a war.
The spirit of Raila cannot rest. Kama ni watu wa sehemu hii ndio wanakuwa watu wa kunyanyasa watu kwamba wasikuja hapa kufanya mikutano ya siasa.
Through a statement, the service also issued a stern warning to politicians, rally organizers, and other individuals against incitement, provocation, and any conduct likely to undermine peace and public order.
So if you don't answer for the deaths and what you did to me today, I'm going to go to court today to deal with the Inspector General of Police. I can't let you go. I will not let you go. I will not let you go.
The Kenya Editors Guild has also condemned the attack on 2 AFP journalists who are covering the Linda Mwananchi rally in Homa Bay. The two were reportedly dragged along the road, beaten and robbed of their work tools and other personal belongings. Meanwhile, a section of ODM leaders led by Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga and Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi accused the opposition of organizing rallies with the intention of causing mayhem.
We have had political rallies all over in this country and throughout these seasons. We don't want a situation that is currently obtaining, that you plan a rally as a way of provoking unrest. That is not acceptable. We want peace and tranquility in our counties of Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, and Homa Bay.
And we have prayed that as we go into this election year, this country remains united. Because we all walk the same journey. Nobody must remain outside. All of us must remain inside. Whether you are from which ethnic group or another. We should preach politics of unity, and we should play politics of bringing this country together.
Wanga and Opio rallied residents from the region to back the current administration ahead of the polls. Abdiaziz Oshim for Good Morning Kenya.
And moving on, DCP leaders Rigathi Gachagua has refuted allegations that the opposition campaigns are being financed by retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Elsewhere, Wiper Patriotic Front leader Kalonzo Musyoka has condemned the growing culture of political intolerance and goonism ahead of the 2027 general election. Take a look.
Opposition leaders on Sunday sustained their onslaught on Kenya Kwanza government, blaming it for failing to address challenges affecting Kenyans. Addressing congregants at PCEA Reverend Samuel Marima Memorial Church in Gatundu South, Kiambu County, DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua blamed the government for failing to compensate Kenyans who lost their kin during the Russia-Ukraine war.
Tumepata information ya kwamba serikali ya Russia inafanya compensation ya 15 million Kenya shillings kwa ile mtu yote anakufa kwa hiyo vita, na hiyo pesa inakuliwa.
Rigathi further defended retired President Uhuru Kenyatta against allegations of funding opposition plot to oust President William Ruto in the next general elections.
Wewe unauliza Uhuru nini? Uhuru is not a candidate. Hutakuwa na yeye kwa debe. Ile mwanaume ako na wewe hapa kwa hapa ni huyu Rigiji.
His sentiments were backed by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who also condemned incidences of political violence witnessed across the country, including the recent events in Homa Bay.
What has happened? Kama guni zimelisha, kwa nini Gachagua na wenzake wakapigwa mawe Nakuru? Kwa nini Sifuna na wenzake leo wakapigwa mawe na kuumizwa, hata wanahabari wakapigwa mawe na kuumizwa na militias?
Speaking at Redeemed Gospel Church in Kidhimani Township, Machakos County, Kalonzo also warned the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of a report suggesting that Stamatic, an international discredited election technology provider, could find its way back into Kenya's electoral process.
It is good, mume advertise. But it's also good, we're also aware, mumetumwa wengine waende kwa, the procurement authority, kusimamisha. Because mnataka mseme wakati umeenda turudi kwa Smartmatic. Hiyo hatutakubali.
Elsewhere, Western leaders allied to Kenya Kwanza coalition have sustained their attack on former President Uhuru Kenyatta, accusing him of funding the opposition to destabilize President William Ruto's government. The politicians led by Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka and Chairman of Western MPs Caucus John Waluke spoke during a UDA delegates consultative forum in Kitale.
Kini mambo ya siasa, Rais Uhuru atoke kwa hiyo siasa. Si ni kweli? Tunataka kupea William Ruto nafasi yake kama rais. Tuone atafanya aje. Na tayari amescorecard yake inashinda ya Uhuru Kenyatta.
Mimi ni mfupi lakini naona mbali. Mheshimiwa Ruto alishinda wao wakiwa na deep state, wakiwa na Raila Amolo Odinga ile alienda, aliwashinda akiwa nje ya serikali. Sasa yako kwa serikali atashindwa.
And speaking separately during a women empowerment program in Kaumoni, Makueni County, Kibwezi West MP Mwenge Mutuse accused the opposition of relying on ethnic politics, political rhetoric and empty promises instead of presenting Kenyans with a credible record of development.
Na tunataka tuwaulize viongozi wote katika nchi ya Kenya, ukue katika serikali, ukue katika upinzani. Wananchi hawakuli maneno, wananchi hawakuli vita, wananchi wanataka viongozi wafanyie maendeleo.
Meanwhile, Nyandarua Governor Kerry Badilisha now claims he has been intimidated after joining DCP party.
Ni kiongozi nimechaguliwa, nataka nafasi yangu nifanyie watu yangu kazi. Unakuta watu wengine kazi yao ni kuzunguka hapa, wamefunika uso, wanakuja na magari, hujui ni magari gani. Hatuna nafasi hiyo. Mimi bado niko na 1 year ya kufanyia watu yangu kazi.
And the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims has backed the government's Beyond Vision 2030 national conversation, saying it presents Kenya with an opportunity to craft a long-term development agenda that goes beyond short-term political interests.
We urge our leaders to forge together in unity and resist the temptations to politicize this process. The Beyond 2030 initiative must not be treated as a political playground or a tool for electoral competition.
Joseph Wahungu for GMK News.
Meanwhile, religious leaders under the Interfaith Forum have urged politicians to focus their 2027 general election campaigns on issues and policies rather than inciting violence and promoting tribal divisions. Speaking in Nairobi County during the marking of the 2026 Hussein Day, the religious leaders warned that the growing culture of political hooliganism, including the use of hired guns and gangs, poses a serious threat to free and fair elections. They have called on the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to take firm action against criminal activities across the country, particularly those linked to political violence.
Thank you so much. The religious leader under the Interfaith Forum have called on political actors to embrace peaceful campaigns and allow voters to make informed choices based on policies and visible development.
The issue of goons going around forcing people to accept whoever they want to should stop. Kenyans should be given the opportunity to make their own choice. And the choices are, of course, should be based on one's abilities to lead this country.
They further cautioned against the use of tribal politics to mobilize support, saying such divisions could undermine national cohesion and fuel violence as the country approaches the 2027 election.
Group may have, and being able to make a spirit of unity and peace across the land. And this is why we are excited, because our nation needs this to happen as soon and as often as possible.
Islamic faith, that we are one Kenyan, we're one people. And I don't think we can be divided by any type of religious or cultural differences. And that's why we're here. We're very happy to have been invited to this very important event.
Speaking in Nairobi during the marking of the Hussein Day 2026, they urged Kenyans to reject political violence and tribal hatred, saying the country's democratic process should be anchored on tolerance, peaceful competition and respect for the rule of law and not intimidation.
As youth, we shouldn't be misused. We stand together for peace, unity and a better tomorrow.
As the youth, I feel like we are the future. And being part of the future, we need to be united because it starts from here. If we're divided and we are not together, I feel like in the future, whatever's going on is just going to keep happening.
Indami Ali stood against oppression and to fight for peace, and it's what we can do as a united community with every Kenyan, every community member, and we can fight for it just like him.
They have called on the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and law enforcement officers to remain vigilant and ensure that individuals and groups involved in criminal activities are held accountable regardless of their political affiliations.
Really request the Inspector General of Police and the security agents of this country to take firm action on all those who create trouble and engage into encouraging violence. This should stop with immediate effect, as nobody can come and build a better Kenya for us apart from ourselves as Kenyans.
And the government is urging Kenyans, particularly the youth, to take an active role in shaping the country's long-term development agenda. Speaking at ACK St. Thomas Amagoro Church in Teso North, Busia County, Head of Public Service Felix Kosgei said the proposed Vision 2060 should not be left to government alone, but should reflect the priorities and aspirations of Kenyans across the country. Kosgei said young people must take the lead in the consultations, arguing that they will be key to the next generation, that they will be expected in the next generation and live with the decisions made today. He urged the youth to prepare to take up leadership and other positions of responsibility as the country works on the new development strategy. The head of public service further called on residents to register for the Social Health Authority, saying access to healthcare under the government's health reforms depends on Kenyans being registered.
call the youth to come out in numbers, to participate fully, to propose and recommend strategies that can make this country go from what it is now to the first world. And not only are you going to be allowed to do proposals and recommendations, we will urge you, wherever you are, also to ensure that you take a position of responsibility so that you will be part of those who are going to implement. So the youth should be ready to take up responsibilities, either elective or appointive, wherever they are, ili wawe wale watatekeleza hii strategy ya Vision 2060.
Chinese language education is gaining momentum in Kenya, driven by increasing demand for Mandarin in schools, universities, and the job market. In response to this trend, teachers from Kenya and across Africa convened at the University of Nairobi for a two-day training program, an initiative aimed at elevating teaching standards and aligning Chinese language education with Kenya's competency-based curriculum. The training also underscored the growing significance of the significance of the language and culture in bolstering China-Kenya relations.
Went to China and
For more than 2 decades, Chinese language education has steadily expanded in Kenya. However, the integration of Chinese into Kenya's competency-based curriculum, coupled with rising employer demand, has created a pressing need for qualified teachers and standardized training. This critical need was the central focus of the 2-day training held at Confucius Institute at the University of Nairobi. Approximately 147 participants attended in person, while an additional 120 joined online from about 20 countries across Africa and beyond.
Nowadays, a lot of employers are seeking for the people who can speak the proficient Chinese language. So there's a big job market demand of the skillfully speaking, Mandarin proficiency employees. They are seeking this kind of people, and then there's job market, so a lot of people want to study Chinese language.
The training primarily focused on the new Chinese proficiency grading standards designed to help teachers understand the expected achievements of learners at various levels. And the shift is particularly crucial as Kenya enters a new phase of Chinese language education.
We've moved from the HSK 1.0 edition, we moved to 2.0, and now with 2025, we've moved to 3.0 edition. This brings a variety of changes. For example, changes in acquisition of vocabulary.
Teachers emphasize that the goal is not simply to produce students who can pass examinations, but rather learners who can effectively utilize the Chinese language in employment, business, and further education.
We are not only equipping them to learn the language and that's it, but they need to learn the language and use it in the job market, in filling in for scholarships and so on.
The expansion is already evident, with approximately 80 Kenyan schools now offering Chinese alongside growing programs in universities. For students, the appeal of Chinese is increasingly linked to future opportunities.
It's about enrichment of our curriculum, enrichment of our programs, so that they become more market-driven. They will now, when we expose this our students to Chinese, they'll also have more opportunities even in China.
The training extends beyond mere language proficiency, as it also aims to strengthen people-to-people connections within a relationship increasingly shaped by education, business, and cultural exchange.
I think Chinese is one of the emerging languages that is really growing, that is after English. That most of the companies, most of the industries that have been based here in Kenya, you'll find that they have those who are directing the industries or the companies, they are the natives. And so for you to be able to have that fluent communication, you need someone who will fill in the gap, for them maybe to come as a translator.
It is now hoped that the growing interest in Mandarin will be met with competent teachers, sufficient classroom time, and standards that adequately prepare learners for opportunities beyond the classroom. Collins Kefa, Good Morning Kenya.
And thank you so much, Collins. And that's where we bring this to a close. And just by the way, did you watch WAFCON? Because we had WAFCON here on KBC, and it just concluded yesterday. And the WAFCON, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, ended yesterday with Cameroon scoring 3 against Malawi's 0. That has been KBC, and we thank you so much for always tuning in to watch WAFCON here on KBC. Tafadhali msitutoke. We've finished WAFCON, but we still have more and better programming coming your way in the course of our broadcast here on KBC Channel 1. Allow me to give quick acknowledgements here to the people who've been following this live broadcast. I want to acknowledge Stephanie Ngina, Elis Keshi, Maina Kiari, Mr. Runo, Mudhoni Gitumbi, and also Samantha Liz, and Oseko Jeff. Highly appreciate you all for always tuning in. As I sign out, I want to remind you that there will be no evidence that you ever tried if you don't make it. The losses, all the losses, the sleepless nights, all the doubts will mean nothing if you don't make it. So you must win, all right? You must make it, because success is the only evidence that you ever tried. My name is Trevor Ngendo. May God bless you. I wish you also a blessed week ahead. Good day.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Unanipata? All right. Many thanks to you who is watching KBC Channel 1. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migui. I want to take you through the front pages of our local dailies to see what has been reported. And I'll start with the Star newspaper. Cheap spirits boom inside Kenya's fake alcohol business. 203 billion shadow market threatens lives, taxes, and legit businesses. This is what is captured on the front page of the Star newspaper. Attempts by suspected goons to disrupt rally thwarted. This is in regards to the Linda Mwananchi team, which had political rally in the western part of the country, specifically in Homa Bay County. We will deliver Western vote to Ruto in 2027. Musalia tells residents. That story is told on page 25 of the Star newspaper. A government to cushion Trans Nzoia farmers affected by poor harvest amid low rains. That story is told on page 23 of the Star newspaper. Managing a closed pension scheme needs a different strategy. That is a story that is told on page 6 of the same newspaper. That is the Star newspaper. And record bonds demand fires money markets as Central Bank of Kenya gets 460 billion bids. That story is told on page 3 of the Star newspaper. Moving on to the Standard. Triumphant, that is what is written on the front page of the Standard newspaper. Dusty and forceful entry into Homa Bay County. Hostile attacks by goons wielding crude weapons, barricaded roads and burning tires disrupted the Linda Mwananchi Brigade tour of Homa Bay County yesterday as political tensions in the region remained high for much of the day. The Edwin Sifuna-led team boldly resisted the traps, choosing to navigate rough terrain to reach designated rally venues where they addressed hundreds of supporters as violence threatened to overshadow the political tour. Meanwhile, calls for the arrest of Homa Bay Town MP Peter Kaluma over alleged inflammatory remarks remained unanswered by the NCIC, DPP and DCI, raising fresh questions over selective enforcement of the law and the government's handling of political violence. That story is told in detail on page 2, 4 and 6 of the Standard newspaper. Moving on to this Daily Nation. Battle for Raila's staff. The Linda Mwananchi Brigade, led by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, defied goon attacks and road barricades to storm Homa Bay town for the breakaway ODM faction's inaugural rally in the county. The dramatic showdown intensifies the battle for the stronghold of veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga, who died last year October, between the Orange Party faction opposed to President William Ruto's re-election and its pro-government rival. That story is told in detail on page 4 of the Standard of the Daily Nation. Housing levy defaulters face bank accounts. PIN freezes. New law gives the Kenya Revenue Authority enforcement powers as authorities crack down on those failing to pay the statutory levy meant to fund the government's affordable housing program. That story is told in detail on page 8 of the Daily Nation. Looming Nairobi city chaos as City Hall staff strikes. Read that story on page 12 of the Daily Nation. And finally, teachers protest TSC social media gag. That story is told on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Teachers protest against TSC social media gag. Circular warned against cyberbullying, intimidation, harassment and offensive content. Now that is what is being reported on the front pages of our local dailies. I want us to get into our day's conversation, and today we want to just look at the long-term ambitions and short-term politics. Conversations regarding the matters of Vision 2060, or that which goes beyond Vision 2030, has begun. And, Vision 2060 has been proposed as the horizon for Kenya's next long-term plan. Question is, when you look at national development, can we sustain a national development agenda for the next 30 years when political changes happen every 5 Yes, that is the basis of our conversation today. And in studio, I'm joined by Wakili Wairimu Gatacha, who is an advocate of the High Court. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning,
Morning
Mike.
to you. Karibu sana.
Asante.
And thank you for making time.
Thank you for the invitation as well.
Yes.
It's always a good time to come and share what we think and how we see things moving.
Yeah, and we may just start right into it. When you think of life or country beyond 2030, when now regarding Vision 2060, from where you stand, what do you think? Are we ready to take on that task of planning for the next, say, 30 years of the country, regardless of the political changes that happen every year, or every 5 years?
I think the conversation about the Vision 2060 is a very important conversation because it is visionary, it's futuristic, and it gives us an opportunity to be part of the group that will live that has something to do with the country that we will leave behind for our children. So it's a very instrumental conversation. It's important. We may not agree on the politicians or the politics of the day, which we have all in those 5 electoral cycles. We may not agree, but the destination, I look at the Vision 2060 as a destination. I look at the economic policies as the roadmap towards that destination. I look at the politicians, or rather the politics, as the vehicle that will get us there. And ultimately, the institutions that are responsible for it will also decide whether that vehicle gets there or doesn't. But I think it's a very important conversation to have. We are talking about the kind of country a child that is born today will live in 2060. We are talking about education and healthcare. We are talking about infrastructure. We are talking about economic progression and transformation. It's a very important conversation. Very.
And you know, we still have Vision 2030, and from where you stand, are there lessons that we can get from it when it comes to political and institutional conditions required now for Vision 2060 to succeed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look at Vision 2060 as being a successor of Vision 2030.
Yes.
And in every situation, there are always lessons that we have learned. And we have seen how Vision 2030 has, with years, gone changing from Vision 2030 when we had the first. It was also separated into several other parts. When we would take a break and look how well are we doing on this Vision 2030, up to very recently when we had the Big 4 agenda. And it's a very important conversation. There are very many lessons to learn. We will obviously look at where, when we have a complete audit, considering that we have not yet exhausted what was meant for Vision 2030, we'll be able to do an audit and ask ourselves the questions, the tough ones, and see what lessons we have learned, which wins we have made, because they are there and there are many, so that they can also guide us into the future, considering how dynamic things are now. When we were launching the Vision 2030, we had no idea just how big technology would advance. Today, you cannot even tell what the next 5 years technology will look like. So it's a good conversation to have. That's when now you're able to tell apart visionary leadership and leadership that waits for a crisis to act. Yeah, if you're able to plan ahead, all the better.
The difference between being reactive and proactive.
That's the thing.
And you know, the timing, there are those who say the timing can raise more compelling questions, because the conversation has begun now, months or less than a year towards the 2027 general election. Question here, are we able to think beyond electoral cycles and build a vision that successive administrations can implement. Are we able to do that and look beyond the politics that we see every 5 years?
I think we should. I honestly think we should look beyond that, because the government of the day, which is led by His Excellency President William Ruto, is not the carrier of that vision. We, the people of Kenya, are the carriers of that vision. So if we look at it as a government project, we will obviously miss out on a few things, because we may not find ourselves at the decision-making table or part of the people that are making contributions towards what the Vision 2060 should carry. It is just it's going to be launched by our government of the day. However, we have short-term accountability, short-term governments within every 5 years who are able also to carry the vision through the successive governments that will come. So it's very hard, especially at such a time when the country is so polarized. And there is the political temperatures are high, and we know why, because now we are exactly into that electoral campaign season. And it's possible that we want to separate. I will understand if every Kenyan asks, we want to understand first what's the manifesto for the government for the next 5 years, even while we discuss the Vision 2060. But we may want to separate the two. Yes.
Because, you know, I'm thinking about the 5-year politician versus a 30-year country. The 5-year politician may want to go with something that fits their manifesto, because from that angle of the 5-year politician and a 30-year country, question here would be, as a country, do we have our electoral system, does it encourage leaders to think about the next generation or the next election?
Very good question. Very good question. And actually, I would want to pose it to the members of the Fourth Estate, bring in these people that are actually vying for positions and ask them that question. Because majority will be looking at the 5-term, which is okay, and it's all right for you to think about the 5-term. But does your vision also think about the generations that will come? It is, I believe that we can do a lot of civic education also on the ground to have people appreciate not just the short-term 5-year cycle, because that is what used to be there before. I want to believe from the time of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, there were always those 5-year cycles of what we intend to achieve, until it got to a point when now with Vision 2030, there was need to space it out so that you can also think about the successive generations that will come. And that is now progressive. We should have governments that come in and align to that long-term vision. Yes.
And you know, because when you talk about industrial policies, education, energy investment, those are projects that can take quite a long time to generate a full potential. And sometimes when you look at political leaders or the political landscape of the country, however, they operate, yes, within the 5-year terms. And that now creates structural tension. So how should these leaders or the implementers of these visions now be judged? Is it what they deliver now or what they are doing with to enhance the achievement of the entire vision?
To answer that, please allow me to look at the economic transformation agenda, which President William Ruto actually spoke about when he came into power. Today we can see change, and we can see what the statistics are showing us when it comes to GDP, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to all the development in the nation. However, to convince a Kenyan and I speak this even for me, to convince a Kenyan that the economy we are growing our economy, but at the same time, you're struggling in your house. You have not seen any increment in your income, and the income that you're getting, you're not able to pay your rent, pay school fees, take care of health care, and still be left with something to invest, to save, or maybe to go and enjoy. That becomes a very tough conversation to have with Kenyans, because yes, we see the infrastructure, yes, we see the GDP, but when will it start making sense to me in my pocket? You know? And I want to believe that economic transformation is very important. If we want to achieve what we want in Vision 2060, for instance, if I were to be asked what I would want, I'm looking at a country where I will not have to worry about in 2060, if I will be paying school fees, I don't have to worry about school fees because that will be funded publicly. I don't have to worry about healthcare because even our politicians and the wealthy people in our country are also going to these public hospitals. That's the vision I have for our country. And for us to get there, hard decisions will be made, tough conversations will be had, sacrifices will have to be made. And I feel like what we are experiencing also at this point is also a sacrifice towards that. But beyond that, we also need to have very firm policies on the issue of wastage and corruption, because every shilling that is paid by a taxpayer should be used exactly for what it's meant for, if we want to actually reach where that vision needs to take us.
And you've brought a very important aspect when it comes to accountability, especially with monies for various projects. How do you reconcile that accountability with development projects whose benefits may take now time or decades to materialize?
Accountability, let me start from the point of the drivers of these visions and these projects. The leaders should be able to look at themselves. Integrity is part of leadership. So if you're leading with integrity, you'll be able to take care of what you have been given and be able to do what you're told to do, right? So I would want to imagine that the institutions that are also there are able to take care of, are able to also make sure and safeguard the integrity of these processes and how the development is being done. We agree, like for instance, infrastructural development may not contribute immediately to the growth of the economy. There are things that will be staggered and we will see the results much later.
And when you look at long-term vision, it cannot become an excuse for short-term inaction, because it must confront today's realities, especially when it comes to matters of the economy, because that is one area that every Kenyan wants to see improvement, especially when it comes to matters of liquidity. And, you know, as a country, there is some significant fiscal pressures. When you look at the vision now, can it be credible without a credible financing model?
When it comes to the financing model, it's important to also face the reality that the Kenyans are already burdened by the taxation. So the experts should also advise and give guidance on how we can increase our tax base, because continuously overtaxing Kenyans who are not seeing any extra income coming in is also a crisis on itself. On its own, it is a crisis. So the experts that are involved in those fields should be able to give us a guideline on how else we can be able to expand the income, the revenue collection for the government, so that we can be able also to achieve these, to grow our economy and to be able to achieve the vision. Yes.
If we are looking at a vision that by 2060, most systems should have already started working. From where you stand, where should, as a country, where should we prioritize when it comes to dealing with issues that will transform this country and even take us to the first world that we are garnering for?
I think we should focus on the question of human rights, because when you do not respect the rights of Kenyans, when, for instance, we are seeing issues to do with extrajudicial killings, even when the economy is blooming and doing great, we will still have very tough questions that do not look like there is any growth in democracy. So the question of human rights is very key and is very important, because it creates a basis of the country that we want to see. You cannot have a country where these rights are not being protected and the infrastructure is so good. There will be very tough questions to ask. And also we should prioritize on the question of healthcare. Because so many Kenyans now are one emergency away from a financial crisis. If there is something that can be done towards that, I would really recommend that we also look into that first. Then there is the question of education.
Yes.
There are also parents who are burdened by the question of the school fees, the books, the uniform, and it's a challenge. So I will recommend that those are some of the issues that will take priority. Yes.
Within the vision, there's and also you know, there are those who argue that the vision should be protected by law, be anchored by law. First question to you is, should that be the case, and would that compel politicians now to formulate manifestos that align with the long-term vision of the country?
Absolutely. The Vision 2060 is well anchored within Article 43 of the Constitution, which safeguards and plans for healthcare, for education, for safeguarding and protection of the human rights, and all these issues that we see. Also, there are the values that are in Article 10. So anytime the politicians or the leaders are making their manifestos, those are the issues to align along. I will completely recommend and agree with that.
But do you see them? Do you see it happening? Because we are talking about the long-term country and the short-term politician.
Yes.
What do you think? Do you see it? Do you see it happening, even though it may have that anchor within the law?
It's about time. It's about time. Since 1963, 1964 up to now, it's about time that we started doing things a little differently, because now we are hoping that we will reach at a different destination, because now these short-term goals are good, because they push us for you to be accountable. What have you done with the 5 years? But it's important to also align with the vision that is coming. And I think it's about time.
It's about time it aligned with the manifestos aligned with the long-term vision of the country. And where should we draw the line between policy continuity and democratic choice?
You see, this is a conversation that's already starting and has been put to Kenyans. Kenyans have a say in it. And for the Kenyans that will refuse to take part in that conversation, you know, once an opportunity is given and is withdrawn, it will not be brought again. So if Kenyans are in the position, in the space where they are supposed to make contributions towards what Vision 2030 should look like, then they'll be able to scrutinize the leaders that come to them after every 5 years and see if they align or if they do not. Yes.
That is very important. We are going to continue with this conversation and we are talking about long-term ambitions and short-term politics when we come back from this short break. Stay with us.
Ni kila Ijumaa kutokea saa 1:30 mpaka saa 4 kamili. Inakuwa ni burudani kiukamilifu ya Afrika Mashariki.
Tunakupatia umbea kwa segment inaitwa The Big Story. Tunachanua what's happening in social media. Msanii amefanya nini na nani.
Kando na mziki mzuri wa Afrika Mashariki, The Big Story pia anawaletea mastaa tofauti ndani ya studio. Kutoka Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, yani ukanda mzima wa Afrika Mashariki.
Nakumbuka pia unaweza interact na sisi kwenye mitandao, yani social media platforms, that is Facebook, Instagram, X na hashtag ni ile tu, #WaMasharikiLive.
Tunakupa mix kali kutoka kwa DJ Kuch, muziki ya kizazi kipya iliyotamba inazidi kutamba na ambayo tunaitambaliza zaidi.
Exactly, and as always msisahau lazima tuwapatie burudani yenye vitamin extra.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Many thanks for staying with us right here on KBC Channel 1. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. This is Eye on Politics, and we are looking at short-term ambitions and long-term ambitions and short-term politics. And this is with regard to the Vision 2060. Can we agree on the future? Remember, you can be part of this conversation. We are at KBC Channel 1 on all our social media platforms. You can also send us a WhatsApp message via the number 0707 303 212 0707 303 212, and we shall sample some of your questions and contributions as the program continues. I'm also joined by Balozi Sarah Munyi, who is a leadership and governance expert. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you, sir. We
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well.
Yes. Karibu sana.
It's very cold out
It's
there.
cold outside and it's drizzling.
Yes.
From where you stand, when you look at the long-term ambitions of the country and the kind of short-term politics we usually have every 5 years, can we agree on the future?
I believe if we want to, if we want to, and if we love our country as leaders, as the people, because implementation of such a vision, we need, first of all, let me say, we need long-term goals. We need that Vision 2060. I think anybody who has a problem with a vision, with long-term planning, they have a problem.
Yeah.
Really have a problem.
Yeah.
But even before I come to the politics, I think as we think long-term, there are two questions we need to ask ourselves. Where have we come from and where are we? We've been having the Vision 2030, first of all. And there's been very, very visible wins that Vision 2030 has delivered so far. We cannot deny the transformation in infrastructure, whether it is ICT, digitization of government services, we have roads, we have energy, you know, we have ports and all of that. Although that does not equal to infrastructure, does not equal to prosperity. For me, I believe the real test of Vision 2030, and any vision we need to have, and any politics we need to play is, can an ordinary Kenyan be able to put food on the table, be able to run a profitable business, be able to afford healthcare, and be able to have quality of life, live with dignity. That's what every politics should be able to address, so that we don't reduce our political, you know, promises, our campaign promises, into, you know, what makes me popular. You know, it needs to be really anchored. If I'm going to, like now, I'm vying for Senate in Kirinyaga, and if I am going to give any promise, is it anchored in the long-term plan for the country? We want to go the Singapore way. We want to be Singapore. These people plan long-term, and the implementation, people own that vision. And so whether it is a political campaign promise, it is anchored, very much anchored into that into that vision. And so for me, I think we need to step beyond our own political interests and look at what benefits a generation. We think generational.
What benefits a generation?
Yes.
Very important. Also, I'm joined by Innocent Musumbi, who is a political analyst. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you so much, Mike.
And bringing you into the conversation, when you look at the vision that the country is conversing around, are we able to agree on the future? That is one. And are we able to look at it outside the lens of politics?
Exactly. Mike, it is true. We need a long-term plan for Kenya. And the current generation now, we need not just to think about ourselves. We need to think about our children's children. And it's important that we do not politicize everything. You know, in Kenya, we are political animals, all of us. And you see, even if I am in opposition or in government, the clarion call should be Kenya moving forward. So I don't know why some people have a problem with Kenya thinking beyond 2030. But I agree, it's important to audit. How far have we gone with 2030? Why have we failed in getting the 100% of 2030? And how can we make beyond 2030 better? And that is where I agree with the government and I agree with President William Ruto that we need to bring all Kenyans on board and have a real public participation, a real national conversation where every Kenyan will give his or her views on what do we need in future. And I agree with my colleague here that it's not about brick and mortar. It's also about the culture that we need to inculcate in our people. You know, the kind of values that we need to embed into our system, into our society. Mike, you will agree with me that the biggest problem we have in this country is corruption. It is wastage. It is a show of opulence. It is pure mediocrity. And if we were to cut down on wastage and corruption, this country would move forward. So as we agree on how we are going to build these big highways, these colorful railways, and you know, the wonderful stadia, we need to understand how are we going to inculcate the culture of patriotism, the culture of, you know, being responsible. Because why should I amass this amount of money while my neighbor is, you know, languishing in poverty? So we need to understand again and even define success. You know, in Kenya, we are defining success as how big is my bank balance.
Bank balance.
Or the big car I'm driving, that is success. But I think there's more to that. We need to redefine our values, our culture, and our traditions.
Wakili, do you agree, especially when it comes to culture, because as Innocent puts it, it's not only about brick and mortar. What other values besides patriotism do we need to inculcate in as far as achieving this vision is concerned, and making sure that we even change the perception of the country in as far as some things are concerned?
I completely agree with what my brother Innocent has said, because we also need to inculcate some values even in the successive generations that will come. Case in point, success does not equal to the huge cars and the huge mansions. If, for instance, you are entrusted in we need also to actually talk to them about, we need to pass down on the question of hard work, you know, and what results look like.
Yes.
Now we are moving far from what, especially for us who went through 844, now we're in a different curriculum of education. We are able to see how education is now shaping the younger generations differently. It makes them appreciate their talents and their gifts and where they are skilled. And when they grow into the future with a kind of policies that will support them at that time, then we are going to be passing down different values. We are going to be passing down generations that do not see success only as scoring straight A's in your exams. It means being skilled in a particular field. It means going out with your talents and with your gifts. That is the kind of change that we also want to see. And I agree with them to the extent that having a visionary and a futuristic vision that encompasses the kind of changes that we are likely to find along the way, and having the policy framework that will obviously change with time, that accommodates those kinds of changes that we are going to meet along the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, you know, the problem is not even the vision. The implementation part, because there are many issues that need to be addressed, as you have rightly put it. Matters of corruption, institutional weakness, low productivity, unemployment, all those need to be addressed. So my question to you, Sarah, is what will make this vision different from the previous national vision that we've had?
First of all, if it can be people, that is, if it comes from the people, and that's why for me, I really welcome that public participation. You know, but the problem with the public participation in our country, sometimes you hear, oh, there's public participation maybe at around 4 p.m. And tomorrow is when you're supposed to have. Right now, there's already a working document, a draft document for 2060. We need to have a vision that is by the people, for the people. Not just for the people, we don't know by who. It should be by the people. That way, we own it more. And by the way, these are conversations that should be had even in when students are discussing debates. You know, they go for debates. What are they discussing? This is what they should be discussing. You know, the future of education, we're talking about Vision 2060, who's going to be there? It is the young people. It is the Gen Zs. It is the students who are going to be there. So I think if we can embrace or formulate this document as a country, and I'm able to own it up. And even, by the way, if we really want this vision to be different from what we have had before, it should be somebody in the village should be able to say, we'll be having this. 30 years to come, this place, Kirinyaga, will be looking like this. This is how Kirinyaga looks like in 2040, in 2050. That is a conversation people are having when maybe they are in the market or wherever. They are picking tea, come from a county where we have tea. Until we get there, and we just restrict this into boardrooms. I don't know, there's a seminar where, by a committee where, it will just be like what we've always had before, and it will not work. For me, ownership is everything, and that's why I really think changing the culture, or really inculcating a culture of ownership right from our children, they will build patriotic people who love the country. It will not be hard for us to fight corruption in future because we've inculcated the values of nationalism and patriotism from a very young age. You know, even the good book says that train up a child in the way they must go. And when they are mature, they will not deviate from it.
Yeah, very important. And Innocent, you know, there should, yes, it's a framework, but should it contain binding targets? Should we have transparent progress reporting, probably strong parliamentary oversight, and clear financing commitments for it to work?
Sure. I want to start by, we need to borrow, and I have seen a lot of conversation about how we need to look at our economy in the lenses of the Asian tigers. You know, the China, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan. And I've just been looking at China and how they do their development plan. They make like a 50-year development plan, which is segmented into 5 years. And again, further segmented into, they review it yearly. Every year around February, March, they meet at, you know, the big common hall in Beijing to discuss how far are we with our 50-year plan. And that is the kind of a situation we need. Of course, China democracy and, you know, their governance structure is different from ours. But we need to customize ours to see how can we have this continuity. Because look at Vision 2030. It was brought about by President Kibaki sometimes in 0708. And when Uhuru Kenyatta came to power in 2013, he kind of abandoned that and went with his big 4 pillars. Then after 10 years, President William Ruto came. He came up with his own agenda. And therefore, you see, there is lack of continuity. And that is why we need to have a national development charter which somehow has some semblance in the constitution.
Which is why I actually asked Wakili, should it be fully anchored in the law? So that successive politicians or manifestos that come after align with it.
I think that is the way we should go, to have a little bit of continuity. Because even today, even in the county governments, let's go even down to county governments. You'll see in 2013 to 2017, there was this governor. Then another governor came in 2017. He abandoned everything the first governor was doing and they started others. So we need to have a plan of, is it about, and that is where maybe we have been talking about, can we forget about the politics of personality? It is not about who is in power. It is about the country. If we want to develop Kenya to be a middle-income country, an upper middle-income country, then let it be the agenda of all Kenyans. Not if Innocent Musumbi comes to power, I have this agenda. I plan my own things. It should be continuous. We should have, you know, a national conversation, a national agenda that carries everybody.
Very important. And there's something that Sarah said about matters of public participation and who actually gets to shape the vision. And I want to throw this question to you, both of you, Sarah and Wakili. What does meaningful public participation mean with regard to the vision that we want to take, the direction that the country needs to take towards achieving Vision 2060? Let me start with you, Wakili.
For a long time, we have had public participation in form, but hardly in substance. This is because the first thing is that public participation is well anchored in law. And Article 10, that is one of the values that has been anchored in law. If you look at the Constitution has provided how Parliament should carry out public participation, how the local county governments should also carry out public participation. And currently we even have a public participation bill 2025, I believe. Public participation comes in when a Kenyan is not asked to pass a law that is something that is already written. They need to interact with it. Then civic education comes into place. We need to explain to our Kenyans, when we say, it's not just putting out a notice that on this particular day we shall be carrying out public participation. There are people on the ground that are explaining what the document portends. Other than that, they are asked for their views, and those views are recorded and are actually considered. Then when it comes to creating the final document, those views will be considered, and they will also reflect if they passed through the test. So public participation is something that we should all take very seriously in every sector that you're in, because there are those laws that are made. When we say that this vision is for the Kenyans, by the Kenyans, let us also actively take part in it by engaging continuously and consistently with the team that is creating this vision, so that we it and will be able to hold the successive governments and the successive leaderships, whether it's in the counties or anywhere else, along that vision that we have been part of and that we have approved. Yes.
Sarah, when you look at public participation, how should it look like? And should Kenyans be able to see what was proposed and what was rejected?
Yes, I think it's public participation presents a genuine opportunity for people to have a say on things that affect their lives, decisions that affect their lives. And so for me, the key word here is genuine. Genuine. It should be genuine. It should not be just inviting people to stamp what you have already proposed.
So in other words, Kenyans are being given a blank page.
Yes, yes. It should be a blank page. And right now we do have a proposal that is there. Working document, but we can call it as Kenya should feel the meat. Should be able to feel this is what we want, this is what we don't want in our education system. And for me, the first thing is how informed are they? How informed? Do people really know post? What's the cost? And so it takes time. And let me say this even for the part of the people, the interest. You know, because we are not used to doing even this will be interested as the people. We need to be interested, ask questions, have the discussions. Otherwise, you know, because we are not used to engaging. Most of the time, people who go for public participation are people who have interests in that particular, whatever, if it is a bill, they have specific interests, you know. We start owning it. Go to that county. Who sits at that gallery? I'm going to sit at that gallery today. I'm going to listen, I'm going to participate, I'm going to ask questions. People are so busy. I have to do this, we consider going to sit at that public gallery and give you give your own opinion about that. We don't helping. It affects you long. Speaking to the what people to go there, you know, and I can't feed my children right now. I need to do something that feeds my children right now. So that talking about patriotism, not just about singing the national. It's not about holding the flag. It is about participating, being interested, asking questions, making proposals. That's what will move our country from an upper mid-level income country.
Yeah, very important. And when we talk about genuine ownership of this, at what point does consultation now become genuine public ownership, especially of a national vision for development?
This kind of big time Vision 2030, it was top-bottom. It was designed somewhere, then it was brought to Kenyans. But with the vision beyond 2030,
yes,
we should be having conversations at the village level, not just in towns, not just in Nairobi, not in the county headquarters. Let it go down deep into the villages. Let people down in Machakos understand what give their views on in beyond 2030. And you'll realize that came in the 2010 Constitution. And Vision 2030, therefore, did not have, you know, the ability and the influence of the counties in the vision. Beyond 2030 now must consider what is the role of the county governments? What is the role of the counties in propelling Kenya to the next level? Because since the advent of the new constitution and the advent of devolution, most of our counties, they are more of consumer units. But we need now to make our counties to be production units. That is where the real economy should be built. Our counties should not be depending on the 15% that we get from the national government. Our counties should be able to produce their own revenue, real revenue, have real manufacturing happening at the counties. You remember the Azimio manifesto had this idea of let us have every county what exactly is the speciality of that county. If it is Kirinyaga, what kind of tea are we getting from Kirinyaga? If it is Kisumu, what kind of fish are we getting from? If it is my county, Machakos, are we bringing in quality mangoes, quality citrus fruits, you know, such things. So that is a conversation we should have. Let us go down to the villages. Let the villagers there discuss, this is the Kenya we want. Then let that document go to each and every county assembly. Let the county assemblies own it. Then after it is passed by the county assembly now, it can come, but of course that is where now the good advocate comes in now.
Yes.
The issue of how can this document now be embedded as part of our law.
Which is very important. And there's the question of the youth, because one of the things that they have to grapple with in today's world, especially here in Kenya, is matters of unemployment. We have many youths graduating year in, year out, but when you look at matters of employment, it's still a grey area that we are dealing with today. So my question to you, Wakili, is when you look at Vision 2060, what must fundamentally change in as far as job creation models within the country is concerned?
Yes, actually, I go back to a question you had asked me.
Yes.
In terms of issues that need more priority than others. And I missed to say the unemployment, because it's a very huge problem that we have in the country. It's a crisis because we have a workforce that has no jobs to do. I think when we look at what we had talked earlier about the education, given the different system of education that now we have, and maybe the one that we will also change into in the future, we need to look at the question of unemployment. Encourage and empower our young people to go into things that to study and to get training on things that they can be able to stand on themselves without necessarily looking for employment. That does not go for everyone. We need also to create a kind of economy that is able to employ and pay salaries to most of our young people. We need also to involve the young people in so many other programs that create opportunities and create jobs. Case in point, we have the housing project. It has created employment that was not there before. And while the government has not managed to create employment for every other young person, there is what they have done. But there is also a very huge gap of people that still do not have jobs to do. So I think the unemployment is an issue that needs to be dealt with with a lot of care. Because we need our young people using up their energy in activities that will help grow our nations, so that we can also avoid seeing instances when the politicians are using young people for their interest in politics, and how they use them is when now we see that we now see people being called goons.
Yes.
Because if you use them to run your campaigns, and you use them to mobilize the people on the ground for you, that is good use of the young people. But now when you use them for criminal activities,
Yes.
that's when now they shift and become goons. So we need to critically look at the question of unemployment and create employment. I really, truly, and hope that moving forward, even in the successive governments, the question of unemployment will reduce to a point where now we won't have that problem maybe in 2060. Yes.
You know, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this vision, but I want to give you each 30 seconds to give your closing remarks, and I'll start with you, Innocent.
Yeah. I'll just pick it from where the good advocate has stopped about the issue of unemployment. We must, you remember there was Agenda 4 when we were discussing the peace accord with Kofi Annan. And Agenda 4 was primarily about moving Kenya forward. And the issue of youth unemployment was very, very, paramount in Agenda 4. And for Kenya to move forward, we need to understand how can we, tackle this issue of the unemployed youths, because that is where now we are getting goons, that is where we are getting this kind of crimes, that is where we are getting, Kenya cannot move forward. And therefore, as I finish, I want to say that let people, all Kenyans, come together, regardless of the political persuasion, and build the future of Kenya.
Sarah.
I think the key goal of Vision 2030 was there is middle term. It's a middle income economy, and people have quality, this high quality of life. Industrial, the reason why we have high level of industrialized, and so how do we produce the job until we become creators? And he mentioned these points. Until we move from a consumer-based economy to a production, manufacturing, agri-processing based economy, we will always have the problem of unemployment. And then the other thing is also our education system, and it's good that we have a new education system, but it needs to be very skills-based. It needs to be very, very skills-based. If knowledge cannot be transformed into a skill that can solve a problem in the marketplace or in the society, we have an unemployed person. Because the marketplace only pays for solutions. Can you be able to make I need to sit on a chair. How many degrees do you think was needed to make this chair? And in many households in Kenya, to find a chair, you need somebody with a skill. Skills-based education, that's really what we need. How many degrees were needed for somebody to make this cup, this phone, It is skills-based education that will help. And also, let's think industrialization. That's what will really solve the unemployment issue, not just in Kenya, but in Africa.
Yes, we've been added 5 minutes, actually. So let's take a very short break, and I'll come back to you. Stay with us.
Are you ready for the next big thing in tech? Well, we'll spotlight Kenya's brightest young minds, game-changing startups, and breakthrough technology that are shaping our future. From AI and robotics to sustainable futures, we bring you the stories behind the scenes. KBC Channel 1. Remember, tech starts here.
Back to Good Morning Kenya. We are talking about Long-term ambitions and short-term politics. For the minutes that we've been added, Wakili, I want to ask you this question because we cannot escape from the fact that the matters of politics, we cannot escape from that because there needs to be safeguards. But then again, what would convince Kenyans that this vision is national planning opposed to matters that regard electoral competition?
Mike, we may not agree on politics, and maybe we shouldn't, and that is why there should be several people that are competing or several coalitions that are competing for these competitive positions. But we should at least agree on where we want to go, on the future that we want for our children and for the other generations. Right now, history is in the making. History is being written. And the future generations will judge us based on what we do today. If we do not engage in a conversation that shapes the future of the generations that will come, in future, reference will be made because of political affiliations. A certain faction or another faction took part in this conversation and another did not. Let us take time and introspect. We are patriots. We love our country. We want the best for our country and we want the best for the future generations that will come. So we should be able to make a distinction. We may not agree on politics and the political landscape, and that's okay. But for the future and for the destination, which is the vision, we should at least agree on it. How we get there and who will drive us there will be dynamic, but at least we should agree on that.
Yes.
Please allow me to go back on the question of unemployment.
Yes.
The future is likely to focus on mostly on renewed energy. We should look at a situation where we should empower also our young people to look at how we can use renewable energy, because these are things that are being done in other countries, like on a very big scale. That is something that we should also do. I have interacted with several people who are looking for experts in this country who have done a bit of management in these issues of renewable energy, and they are using these people and taking them to their country. I think moving forward we should start thinking, because we do have these resources, waste resources, which can be used for renewable energy. Like she said, industrialization. Let us work on that pillar so that we can create employment, we can create resources, and that is how we build wealth for our nation.
Yes.
Yes.
Industrialization, very important. When you look at industrialization, Innocent, should we start at the county level, or what role does the county level play in as far as this industrialization dream is concerned?
Yeah. Maybe you know, I'm very passionate about the issue of devolution, and that is why I'm running for the position of senator in Machakos County.
Yes.
And the Kenya should be built from the devolved units. That is where the inching of Kenya should start from. And it is quite unfortunate that 15 years, almost 15 years since devolution came in, the devolved units are just consuming from the levels. And therefore, now thinking of beyond, we should have a plan on how will contribute towards the national economy. We should have a conversation on, if it is Machakos County, what is Machakos County good at? We have a lot of mangoes there. We have a lot of citrus fruits there. Can we make Machakos, and maybe now the entire Ukampani, can we make this the fruit basket for Kenya? Can we have industries coming in there to add value to these fruits? So the conversation should be each and every county, what is there for us.
Very important. And Sarah, let's say we own the vision, both the citizens and the politicians. Does that move competition from just being politics to as to who implements this vision better? We are not moving away from the vision, but just looking at someone who can implement it better. Should that be where the competition moves?
That should be where the competition moves. Leadership is a task, and a task is temporary. And so if we had maybe the MTP, because you know a vision like this is implemented through medium-term plans, if the MTP for 2023-2027, that's where we are about at least 2 million jobs.
Yeah.
That's where the competition should be. And that's what, and a leader should start proudly and say, you know, in the last maybe half, in the last 2 years, we have been able to produce this. That's where the competition should be. We are thinking about generations. We are thinking about our children. We are thinking about, we are not competing on how do I become more popular, how do I win the next election, so that I only do selected things that, oh, people are complaining about the port, people are complaining about the port, so let's do port. People are complaining about this, people are complaining about it, let me do. You know, and so development becomes very, very selective, and you have different parts of the country. People are complaining because you only develop where you come from. The roads, there are whole belts where you come from, and in other places where people also elected you, there's no development. So for me, that's where the competition should be. During my tenure as the president, the 6th president or the 5th president, we produced 6 million jobs. We moved Kenya into, we were able to achieve the 10% GDP growth because we've only been seeing 4 to 5. That's the pride that as leaders we need to speak with, because that's somebody that has owned up that vision and they are doing their level best. They're doing everything to achieve that. So for me, I think that's where the competition should be.
And Wakili, how do you see this vision now fitting within devolution, or devolution fitting within that vision?
I'm a huge proponent of devolution. Yeah, decentralizing power from the national as we knew it before.
Yes.
And I believe that the county governments, being the carriers of are able to also carry this vision in a very good way. However, you find that in most county governments, you find that once a new governor comes into power, they abandon whatever projects the previous governor was doing, and now they want to do what they want to be remembered for. But if they actually align to what the vision states and what the vision seeks to achieve, and the good thing about this vision is that there is a roadmap. There is what will be staggered for maybe the first quarter, the second, the third, like that. So within that first quarter of that vision, there is what we hope to achieve. The county governments, regardless of who was there before and who is coming in, should be able to align along along that particular staggered development project that has already been allocated in that period.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know, Musumbi, you know, Singapore is one of the countries that have featured as reference points for the scale of transformation that this country is seeking. We differ radically in terms of geography and also population and political structures, economic circumstances. My question to you is this a lesson or a comparison that we are getting from countries like Singapore?
I think it should be more of a lesson to learn. How did you know, the founder of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, had a dream for Singapore from the beginning, and he laid a very strong foundation that today is not around. He passed on. Yeah. But you know, the kind of foundation he laid, the culture he laid for these people, they are still following up to date. And the most basic thing and the very fundamental issue that Kenyans should understand is that it is not about the highways. I think I said it. Yes. It is about what we call the software. What are we thinking? What is how do we love Kenya? And if we love Kenya, we won't steal from ourselves. Yes. We won't amass, we won't be kleptomaniacs, amassing a lot of wealth while your neighbor is languishing in poverty. So we need to change that culture to understand that moves forward, everybody should move forward. We are, and of course that will mean we have to change our style of politics. It doesn't matter you are in government or in opposition.
Yes.
Your conversation, your dialogue should be towards building Kenya. Because maybe you have heard of politicians here in Kenya saying, in this period, no investor should come to Kenya. Wait for us to get power next year for you to come.
Yeah.
Some politicians talking about tourists should not come to Kenya when President Ruto is there. Wait for us, wait for President Ruto to go. When we come back, when we come to government, you will be. So that is the kind, you know, these are almost like economic saboteurs. So we need to have real patriotic leaders who are ready to move Kenya forward, regardless of are they in power or not in power.
And Sarah, that is a very important point. It brings about another perspective. Should we have bipartisan or cross-party agreements on a number of issues when it comes to the vision of national priorities that no successive government can reverse on it? Should that happen?
That should happen. That should happen. And I think that's why we talked about it being inculcated in the law, so that we don't have, we have competing interests. It's about what makes me popular. I think that should be done, and this should be one of the, what makes Vision 2060 different from other visions that we've had before. If it's inculcated in the law, and I really want to show goodwill and serve the people, I will follow. I'm going to follow the rule of law. The vision is the rule of law, becomes the rule of law, and I'm genuine about really implementing the rule of law. So for me, I think that we should have some non-negotiables. If we talked about, for example, one of the in the political pillar of 2030 was to have at least two-thirds gender, two-thirds gender rule, and which has not been implemented to date, So, and how exactly do we do that? How exactly do we make sure, but as we move to 2060, we are not still struggling with 33%, only 33%, we've only been able to implement up to 33%. So for me, there needs to be a very core, some non-negotiables in our vision. Whether there's a government now or there's another government, this will not change. And if you're going to bring in a new vision, it has to be embedded in what is already there, or it's building up into it, or it is improving. It is adding value into what is already there.
And Wakil, we cannot escape politics in as far as these matters are concerned. My question to you is, when you look at what both of them have said, is it possible for politicians to realistically prioritize projects whose benefits or the biggest benefits will be felt probably after they leave office?
Yes, absolutely, yes. I will throw this challenge to the members of the fourth estate, like I had done it before. It is very easy for aspirants, and let me start by congratulating both of you. Maybe you'll inspire me to consider.
You should.
Yes, maybe they'll inspire me at the end of this session, and the next time I'll also declare I'm vying for a particular position. But it is important for because most of us interact very well with the aspirants on such spaces, because when we limit now the interaction that as electorates will have with the aspirants on the campaign trails, there will just be a mention of slogans, party colors, and that excitement and the kind of what happens during the rallies. But it is in such spaces where we are able to hear what does this particular aspirant want to do for us, and we are able to judge based on that. I want to imagine that whether the one who is launching that particular project is your candidate of choice or isn't, we need at least to agree on the vision. along the way, there is no single way in our country, in our law as it is, that President William Ruto will be the president up to 2060.
Yes.
You know, there is no single way that he will rule for that long. There will be subsequent governments, and even today when he launches and he does not get into power in 2027, he will still remain a Kenyan, and the government that will come in will still need to run that vision.
Yes.
And pass it over like a relay race to the next other government. The same case goes to the county governments. So it is not the Vision 2030 conversation does not need to have politics in it. We need to know what to politicize and what not to politicize. Politicize your opponent's manifesto. Politicize their choice of slogan. Politicize their coalitions. Politicize things that actually matter in a political race. But this is a vision that the future generations will actually look back, and I want to imagine, because I think the way I do, I want to imagine those in 2060 will think very differently.
Yeah.
And when they see some of the actions that we are taking today, opposing a vision that is meant to serve them based on politics, they will not, you will be on the wrong side of history. Let's just speak the truth. And you know, for instance, if we again look at it along ethnic lines, there's what we will want to achieve nationally. Then also, because we have an identity and there's where we come from, and there's what we would want also to do for those areas. If you do not appear and you do not go and put your ideas on the table, who will you have to blame when your region is lagging behind? You know, there are times when politicizing some things benefits us. There are times when it actually does not. And that's a hard conversation and probably a very unpopular thing to say, but we should say the truth. Right?
Should be part of the conversations.
Should be part of the conversation.
Should have, in as far as telling each other the truth is concerned.
Yes.
And Sarah, you come from a very agricultural-oriented county, Kirinyaga County. And when you look at the country, we have so many sectors, including manufacturing, tech, services. From where you stand, what sectors should realistically carry Kenya's economic transformation over the next 30 years?
I want to start with agriculture. You know, since I think independence, we are told it's the backbone of the economy. And for sure, it has supported our economy. So agriculture is huge, agro processing, and that's why we need to talk about value addition. My county, I think, has key major cash crops. We have the rice, 60% of rice in Kenya comes from where? We have rice, we have tea, we have coffee. And so for me, I think agriculture is key, you know, and it should really build. And there are so many industries that can be started through agriculture, you see. And then for me, the other thing is mining. You know, let me tell you, this thing of agriculture is the backbone of the economy, has really blinded us as a country and as a continent for many years. Because even those who, you know, were here before, or the colonizers, they didn't come here for agriculture. They came here for the real gold, the real backbone, which are the minerals. So we need to think about the gold in Kakamega. Right now, we are still doing a lot of exploration, and I think we need to be more deliberate about the mining sector, because this is, for me, what can really transform our country, the mining sector. We have coal, titanium, you know, all of these, you know, very valuable mineral resources and rare earths. We really need to think mining. So for me, agriculture, mining, and also let us look at, because for me, mining, if we can be able to look at mining and really build good ecosystems around that, around mining, and we can be able to produce the raw materials we need for us to be able to make things like phones. We need the coltan, you know? Cobalt. Yeah, we can be able to industrialize, we can be able to start production of digital items like these phones. Yeah. So for me, when I look, those are the two key areas that will really, really drive our economy moving forward.
And when you look at the county aggregation and industrial parks, should counties now take advantage of it, especially when it comes to value addition of whatever products they produce within their counties, in as far as achieving what you're saying now, instead of relying on what is coming from the national government, they can increase on their own source revenue?
Exactly, that should be the way to go. Value addition is the way to go, and of course that will bring about manufacturing. It will bring about creating so many job opportunities. You know, we have concentrated a lot in exporting the raw material, exporting the green leaf in terms of tea, exporting, you know, the roasted coffee beans. We need to add value to these things because, number one, that will improve our income. Number two, it will create job opportunities. Number three, it will ensure that our counties now are the engines of our economy. And when we talk about agriculture, no country that grows without being self-sufficient. It is quite a shame that in Kenya we import maize. It is a shame we import sugar. It's a shame we import very basic things. So number one, let us ensure that Kenya is food sufficient, self-sufficient completely.
Food security.
And that will ensure that for that to happen, we need to stop relying on rain-fed agriculture. Let us ensure that Kenya is well irrigated. Number two, where Kenya is geographically located, we stand a very good chance of being the hub of East and Central Africa and part of Horn of Africa. So we need to create another Dubai in Kenya where everything will rotate, will revolve around Kenya. And that will bring about what we discussed the other day about foreign direct investment. Can I tell you, Migwi, in China, these iPhones are manufactured in China. And Apple is creating 5 million jobs in China. Can you imagine if we have a company like Samsung or Apple come to Kenya? How are we going to improve our economy? So we need to create a very conducive atmosphere. Number one, let us ensure that politically we are correct. We are not having this kind of conversation of abuses and threats and hooliganism and the guns we are having. Let Kenya be number one.
Hello, Mike, your microphone has a problem. I'll come to you as we close. Sarah, as we close this conversation, what direction, in as far as this vision is concerned, and consultations that need to happen for it to be put on paper and implemented, what needs to happen so that we say in 5 years, you know what, we started this conversation and we have been able to achieve maybe even one thing?
Let me start by adding, there's another sector I've just quickly thought about, the energy sector. If we really have to industrialize, we really need the energy. Today, we are importing energy, electricity from Uganda, where we have very good, huge, powerful waterfalls that we can be able to generate electricity and energy from it. So for me, if we're going to talk real economic transformation, we have to think energy, and we do have the resources. It's just that we don't have deliberate interest in really tapping from the resources that we already have. Just the other day, we have a forest, you know the ecosystem around Mount Kenya. There's a forest called Kandandide Forest, which you access through Kirinyaga County. A very huge, powerful waterfall. And it's just sitting there. People just go to take photos with it. So and the county is well aware of what we have. I'm very sure maybe then the country, they know, the government knows that we have these resources, but we don't tap to them. And so we continue importing, you know. So I think for me, you know, being deliberate about production, production from at county level, production and energy. Let us think energy, because that's really the driver of whether this digital transformation or any economic transformation.
Wakili, as we look forward to maybe this vision, what should we agree on, and maybe within the next 5 years we shall look back and say, you know what, we started this conversation, this is what we have been able to do.
Okay. Please let me go back to something that you had asked before about the values that we also want to pass down. Allow me to note this with a lot of concern. Sometimes even watching news with our children becomes like that. You're not able to, because sometimes the words that are being uttered in these political spaces and rallies, which will be reported during news, are words that you will not want. That is not the culture that we want to pass down. We want to have a dignified political class that carries out its campaigns in a dignified way.
Yeah.
There should not be we don't need insults to make a point, and we don't need to show the coming generations that is the route to go. I think there should be some sanity, and that one cannot be done on its own. It also comes, there are institutions that are involved in making sure that politics are carried out responsibly, because the political pillar of this vision is very important, and it can, because it's the one that drives us to that particular destination. If it falls off, it will compromise the result that we are likely to get. So that is one pillar that needs to be really thought through, and we need to see the institutions that are, the agencies that are involved, take proper and very serious action on these people, those people that have been mentioned to have electoral offenses. That should mean something when it comes to their clearance. And that should be done not just on the members of the political space in the opposition, but also of those also within the government. Yes.
Thank you so much. Allow me to close this conversation here. I'm told our time is up, but I want to thank you for making time to come and contribute on matters that regard the long-term ambition and the short-term politics, and this is with regard to agreeing on the future. That is Innocent Musumbi, who is a political analyst, Wairimu Gatacha, who is an advocate of the High Court, and Balozi Sarah Munyi, who is a leadership and governance expert. This conversation ends now. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike Migwe. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly. Stay with us.
Soda yako?
Nileta ice cubes.
Ungependa ikuwe baridi ama moto?
Nini bana wewe?
Ukiniangalia niko na panga
kwa kichwa.
Nimemalizia hapo.
Haya.
Ndio nataka na nifikie hapo hapo. Okay.
We, unaenda wapi sasa mukaka?
Nataka nisikie kutoka kwa punda mwenyewe.
Ndio ndege inakuja saa 6 usiku.
Isije ikawa ni kesho.
Sasa wewe ndio unajua nimesikia vibasi ndio?
Niende na gari.
Ulikuwa unataka uende na kichwa? Wewe rudi hapa.
Ni yeye alituambia ona.
Wewe kwenda. Mwoga nani alikuambia hii maneno?
I'm Eunice, teacher Eunice that is, and I work here in Presbyterian Emmanuel Academy as a lower primary teacher, and I'm a happy teacher.
Wow, good morning.
Of course, to meet my learners, whom they give me a lot of satisfaction, and to be anxious to come and meet them and change a life. As a teacher, to me, Labor Day is not all about a public holiday, but to be seen. Teachers are not mostly celebrated as per se, but they are the most important people in the society. Teaching is a call, it's not a job. Sometimes you give even your extra hours to do this.
Today, I want us to talk about uses of water.
Yeah, being a teacher in the Eastland is not easy, as we are classified as being in slums. So we've got a lot of challenges. You can find a learner coming to school. She or he has not eaten even supper, no breakfast, and he has come to your class. And you cannot teach a hungry child. The first thing you do, we go even extra mile of buying them snacks and make sure that before the lessons they have taken something, just a bite. Some of them come to school without pencils, writing materials. And what do you do as a teacher? You have to go buy writing materials for them, provide even books they don't have. When you encourage them to share the textbooks, because most of, even if you write in the diary, buy, they won't buy, as in because of the background. And what do? You understand them, you love them the way they are, and you help where you can, just to make sure the emotional challenges is well observed. In our school, we are so advantaged because we are in a church-based school. And to do with the discipline, the spiritual thing, the morals we teach here every day has helped us in terms of discipline. It is very rare to see a kid who is in discipline. Most of the cases, they severe in discipline because of the morals they are taught and the spiritual nourishment that we give them every morning. These kids have taught me to come back even after trauma or hard experience in life. I always teach them, despite of their background, they still have a future. You train them how to forget about the challenges they are going through and to concentrate. Show them a lot of work, improvise anything they need where needed, and by doing so, you'll find that kid has accepted him or herself, and he has started coping up and performing well, regardless of the background and the challenges they're facing at home. Being a mother, a teacher, and a wife, in fact, they just come automatically. They shift automatically. When you come in here, you forget about home, because you cannot teach these learners when you think about home. So when you're coming, you leave your home at the gate as you came. Now when you go home again, you leave the school at the gate and you get home as a wife and as a mother. Being a mother is more advantageous because how you train your kids, how you nurture them, is the same way you are going to nurture the learners you are teaching. So being a mother, that warmth, that affirmation that you're giving your children at home is what you bring in classroom. As a teacher, you have to sacrifice your time, your extra time. For example, I'm supposed to report to work by 6:30 and leave this place by 5. But what do? Sometimes you find yourself earlier, 6 or even 5:30, and leave this place by 6:30. Like you have a home, you have a family, but what do? You have to sacrifice, make an extra hours for your work. Maybe especially during exam, you have to leave here by almost 7 so that you can be able to mark all the exam, compile, because they are needed by the administration on time. But I had this one particular boy who couldn't pass through the door. He had to pass through the window. And he gave me a very hectic time. And I had to sit down with him, know what is his problem, and all that, only to find that he had problems at home. He used to be beaten by the parents so much. After we sat down and discussed, that's why he had those behaviors, and he was cheeky and all that. But when we talked with him, after like 3 years, he came up changing, and now he's a very good boy. He's in grade 8, doing very well. And when they close the school, they have to come to my place and tell me, Eunice, thank you. With a very big shopping together with the mother, because they always say I did a very good job. In our classroom, those diversity in culture and languages And with the CBE, it's really helping us because we find those learners, they are doing a lot of innovation through the technology. And by doing that, they are changing the mindset about the tribe and where we come from. And this generation is all about diversity, as they don't have that thing that we used to have our own, that this is our culture, what is it. Nowadays, they have diversity in culture, and that gives me a lot of hope that tomorrow is better than what we have today. You wonder why the teacher is not celebrated as others. And that engineer passed through a teacher, the doctors, they passed through a teacher, and it's only God who can pay a teacher. But even if you don't celebrate them, they are so proud. God bless them in so many other ways. Imagine a learner coming from home without knowing anything. Some, they don't know how to do the toilet. You have a home, you have a family, but what do? You have to sacrifice, make an extra hours for your work. Maybe especially during exam, you have to leave here by almost 7 so that you can be able to mark all the exam, compile, because they are needed by the administration on time. But I had this one particular boy who couldn't pass through the door. He had to pass through the window. And he gave me a very hectic time. And I had to sit down with him, know what is his problem, and all that, only to find that he had problems at home. He used to be beaten by the parents so much. After we sat down and discussed, that's why he had those behaviors, and he was cheeky and all that. But when we talked with him, after like 3 years, he came up changing, and now he's a very good boy. He's in grade 8, doing very well. And when they close the school, they have to come to my place and tell me, Eunice, thank you. With a very big shopping together with the mother, because they always say I did a very good job. Our classroom, those diversity in culture and languages. And with the CBE, it's really helping us because we find those learners, they are doing a lot of innovation through the technology. And by doing that, they are changing the mindset about the tribe and where we come from. And this generation is all about diversity, as they don't have that thing that we used to have our own, that this is our culture, what is it. Nowadays, they have diversity in culture, and that gives me a lot of hope that tomorrow is better than what we have today. You wonder why the teacher is not celebrated as others. And that engineer passed through a teacher. The doctors, they passed through a teacher. And it's only God who can pay a teacher. But even if you don't celebrate them, they are so proud. God bless them in so many other ways. Imagine a learner coming from home without knowing anything. Some, they don't know how to do the toileting and holding a pencil. And when you see that kid writing and doing the toileting, and it gives you a lot of satisfaction. A lot of good things like morals. Morals, you will not find them in the textbooks. Sometimes we do skills. We only tell them, bring these things tomorrow, we can go cook in the kitchen. It is not there because the home science used to be there, but at home, and again the parent, they are very busy at home. So most of the things we teach them here, making their clothes, mending their clothes, the buttons, when they get out, what do? Do you draw that shirt? No. You tell them you take this needle and this, and you do it. And when they see them doing it even at home and teaching the rest, that one gives me joy. I would like to tell them not to give up, never give up, never despise the humble beginnings. As little as it is pain, just trust in God. No one can be a teacher. And the only gift I can give them is to tell them, well done, keep it up, because it is only God who pays them. In fact, a teacher is being paid by God. And how is a teacher being paid by God? You'll find a teacher, yes, she or he is earning very little, but his life is okay. through blessings of touching children's life. You find God is favoring them, their children are doing well. That's those small blessings that we ignore. That is what God pays them. So the only thing I can tell them is to hug them and tell them never give up, continue doing the good work, and God will always bless them.
Well, you have clap. Another source of water. Shame, well done.
I am a proud teacher. I have mentored so many. Some are in campus, some are working. And I can tell them, it's not always being a teacher, but changing lives. And wherever they are, just know, change life wherever you are. In that society, in your neighborhood, change someone's life. Not only through teaching, but doing good things, good deeds to your neighbor. Teaching is not a job, it's a call. So if you feel that you have a call, join in. It is the best career you can take if you have a call. The best thing with a teacher, regardless of other career, a teacher will always wish you the best.
And you are right in time for our segment that is a family check right here on Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for staying with us. Let us get to introduce our conversation today, or the topic that will be forming the basis of our conversation. The question we are asking you is marriage still a priority for young people? That is what we are going to be talking about. You know, there's usually kind of like a script to life as we grow older. You know, after getting birth, then you're expected to go to school. After going to school, you're expected to go to higher learning education. You're expected to graduate from college or university. And then immediately after, the question begins, when are you getting married? So you're expected again to get married, and then after that, there's a question of you having children, so getting children. That is the script that we kind of like adhere to or follow. But is that still the case to date? So we are asking, is marriage still a priority for young people? And I am more than pleased for this conversation this morning, mainly because I am having ladies coming from across countries, different countries of this world, and I will allow them to introduce themselves. But even as before we get to that, remember you can talk to us. Our WhatsApp number is 0707 303 212. 0707 303 212. Answer that question. Let me know what you think about is marriage still a priority for young people? And I want the young ladies in studio to begin introducing themselves, and I want to begin with you. Kindly tell us your name and where you're coming from.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevino Mohoro, a girl guide from Rwanda, and a young leader and IS participant 2026.
Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mokesa Nicole, a girl guide from Uganda, and I'm also a young leader. Yes.
Amazing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chipo Mwando, and I'm a girl guide from Zambia, also AS participant.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharin Ferdos, young leader from Bangladesh, and also I'm a YES volunteer participant. Thank you.
Amazing.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Luva. I am a girl guide from Madagascar, and I'm a professional participant with the YES movement.
Amazing.
Thank you. My name is Sylvia Oyula, a teacher by profession, and we are here representing Kenya Girl Guide Association. I'm the Assistant Chief Commissioner, Kenya Girl Guide Association. Thank you so much for having us around.
It's a pleasure to have all of you here, and welcome to Kenya for the newcomers or the visitors, if I may call you. Now let's begin with that question. I want to hear it from all of you. Is marriage still a priority, specifically for you as young people? Is it a priority? Let me begin with you.
Okay, yes. I think me personally, I think marriage is a priority. First of all, I see marriage as like a partnership. Yes, I see like two people who agree to start up a life together. Yes.
All right. Yourself?
Even me personally, I think marriage is a priority because God created two different genders, woman and man, just to having a family, to having a kids. I think for me, marriage is a priority.
It is a priority for you too. Okay, interesting.
Yes, for me, yes, it's really needed. But nowadays, like yes, as a young generation, we're supposed to finish. We are very focused on our career.
Yes.
After then we.
So you put your priority first on your career, and then the marriage will come after. What about you?
I agree with Sharon. I think marriage is a priority, but ambitions should come first. For marriage to work, someone has to be financially stable, emotionally mature, and I think, but yes, it is a priority.
What about you?
Okay, with what we live today, currently, marriage is not really a priority because of, just to add what they said, it is put as a capstone, not a cornerstone. In the past, it has to be like once you, after college or everything, you get married. But currently, the young people needs to be stable before getting married.
So that's where it's changing. The urgency is what is changing. It's not like young people do not want marriage. No, it's just that the urgency has changed. You want to first have accomplished a number of things before you get to that marriage bit. That's what I'm getting from you. All right, let's hear from you, ma'am.
I'm amazed to their ideas, which initially I thought maybe they would say it's not a priority, but I'm glad they're saying it's a priority because it's something that has been there. God placed it there. And just that, as they're saying, I think their priorities are different. It has shifted from marriage being a priority, and it has moved to opportunities, like they have to establish themselves before they get married. But I will urge them not, because I think even most of them, they have that fear. I would call it fear of the unknown. Because they feel like they really need to establish themselves before they get to marriage because they don't know what is there. And I believe it's because of maybe what they have heard and what they have seen happening. So that is why they have that mindset.
And you know, with the same, as you're saying, it's kind of like a fear of the unknown. And I feel like many a times we are basing this fear mainly on our finances. I guess that is why we keep hearing, I need to have established myself first. So I would like to hear from you, because you are the first one to say your career has to come first before you get to that. When you talk about establishing yourself, how does that look like for you to say that, yes, now I'm established enough to want marriage?
For my personally, I like to independent girl. Yes, I'm going to be independent in myself. I'm not depending anyone, first of all. That is my perspective. I'm not going to be dependent someone who really, I don't know, he's really like, what I'm saying, he's understanding me or not. That the fearing is coming. So yeah, for me, I'm going to independent to my financial stable. After then I can choose whatever I want.
You were smiling when she said she wants to be an independent girl. Why is that?
I know some people are allergic to that word, the independent. Like, okay, so you don't need a man at all. That's how people will receive most of the time when we say independent woman. That's why I laughed. But I agree with what she said, like, it's the fear of the unknown, one, but also, like, because of their past they may have faced something in their past, so they want to be like stable financially to be able to raise a child.
Yeah. Would you say that this is from what maybe you've seen growing up? You know, could be at home or from other people's experiences. There's social media now. What is forming this basis for you whereby you feel like, I really want to be an established girl before I get into marriage? You know, back then, girls would get married as early as 18, even younger, unfortunately, even younger than that. So is it something that is changing for you from what you've seen?
Me personally, first of all, social media matter nowadays. As let me say, as Gen Z, yeah, social media matter, and someone's experience. Nowadays, we are seeing people, they are getting married, and then after 1 year or like after 2 years, they get divorced in a short period of time. So we are feeling to getting married, first of all, because of the things that are happening, some people's experience, and even social media. Okay, as a Gen Z, we are saying that getting married, the man, he's going to control me, he's going to tell me that don't do this at my young age. So I think that's why we are going slowly for getting married, personally.
Yeah, and still on the same, you know, I'm sure we're all on social media. We're all on Instagram, we're all on Facebook, we're all on TikTok. And you know that the story that sells much on there, or the story that moves very fast on there, is stories of breakup. I am sure that you have witnessed that, all of you. So would you say that social media is changing your expectations when it comes to marriage?
Yes and no, because first of all, social media is kind of fake. People just do that to gain clout. And those breakups are just portrayed to gain views. But I would say yes, because as children, we learn from what we see. So if we see people are saying things like marriage is fake and people are just arguing in marriages and it's not working out, and so they just get divorced. And the way people are petitioning for divorce is crazy, because now the divorce rates are so high. And personally, I think marriage shouldn't end because it's a lifelong union. But if I see something is not working out, it's better to end it than to keep it going.
Yeah. Would you say the same? Has social media maybe formed your perspective on marriage?
To me, personally, social media is like fake. Most people fake life there. So I wouldn't base on social media to define what is right for me. Yes.
All right. Remember, you can be part of this conversation as you watch us. There's that number that is on your screens. You can send us a WhatsApp message. I would like to get to hear from you. The number is 0707-303-212. Let me know what is your take. Is marriage still a priority for young people? That is the question that I am posing to you, and I'd like to get to hear from you. Now, would you say that traditional gender roles are also making marriage kind of a bit less appealing for the younger people now? Because, you know, growing up, we knew for a lady, your role in the marriage is to take care of the home, take care of your husband, take care of the children, while the man, you know, goes out to provide. And slowly that is changing, because as we said, even from hearing from the young ladies here, they all want to be established, they want to be independent. So would you say these roles are also making marriage a bit less appealing?
I wouldn't say that the traditional roles are a contributing factor. Because when you realize these days, most of our Gen Zs, they wouldn't want to associate with the traditional roles. They feel like they are getting exposed, they are growing, they are coming out of a cocoon that they were put initially. So I wouldn't say that the traditional part of it is a contributing factor. So I think as they're talking about the social media, there's so much that is coming up. Every day we have things coming up from the social media, from the society, that the young the young girls or the young women are learning, and I feel like they end up making decisions on their own. They feel like they prefer to be established than being housewives. And I remember our parents, they started by being housewives. And they were very okay. But you see, as the young ones are coming up, they feel like being a housewife is like a death sentence, kind of. So they would prefer growing up, establishing themselves, not being part of that traditional thing that was established.
All right.
So it's like slowly fading away.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, we take a break. Don't go too far. We'll be back to continue with this conversation. Stay with us.
Okay.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Hebu fikiria environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. We are having a conversation on, is marriage still a priority for young people? And you can also be part of this conversation via the number that is right there on your screens. Now, before we took that break, we had already established how this conversation is going. And I want us to get back to that part where we talked about finances, you know, and that financial responsibility that maybe you may feel you have for yourself, that you have put for yourself, you know. And, you know, someone may argue that nowadays marriages or partnerships have become more transactional. You feel like, I don't know, even if I ask you right now, would you be open to partner with a man who is not financially stable?
That's a great question. Yeah. Yes and no. So, yes, because what matters the most is you know the person, like how are you compatible? Are you do you know one another very well? Are they very comprehensive and support you in another way, apart from the finance? But no, as well, because currently we live in a very, it's hard, life is hard, like money, we need money for everything. But in the past, money was not that, life was not that hard in the past. That's why we have many housewives, but currently women have to work to earn many things. We have many bills to pay.
You have many bills to pay, but for you it's a yes and no. What about you?
For me,
would you be okay with a man who's not yet established financially?
Honestly, no. Yeah, no, cause a part of that, for example, me, let me say that I'm somehow financially stable, somehow. So I can't accept the man who is not financially stable. So how are we going to live? How are we going to survive without money, without anything? I can't.
But there's yours. You guys
mine,
can use yours.
Yeah, but we have to bring his and mine, and then we can, yeah.
Yeah. So for you, it's a big no.
Yeah, it's a big no.
What about you?
Same, yeah, I agree with Kevin. It's a very big no, because in my perspective, I think men are supposed to be providers, not the other way around. So you must be at least financially stable.
Yeah, but that's what we were talking about, speaking about traditional gender roles. When you say men are supposed to be providers, then are you willing to just stay in the house and cook and clean and look after children and look after your husband?
No.
That is where the double standards come in.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in like sharing roles.
Okay.
Yes. If you're financially stable, I will also like be working. I won't be home. So it's okay to share bills. Yeah. That one I accept, but you should be financially stable.
Yeah. You have something to say on the same.
Yes. The question is he trying? Is he also trying to like be financially stable? Because if I'm financially stable, I'll see him as not as equal, because he'll be coming to me asking me for this and asking me for that.
Yeah.
So it's like, no.
What about you, Shani?
Yeah, I agree with Luva. Yes or no. Both sides are different sides, because in the past we are not depending on the money, we are depending on the man. But now we're dependent on ourselves also. Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that right now, you know, looking at relationships, younger people's relationships, it's more transactional now? Would you is that how you're viewing it?
I would say yes and no at the same time. And I would say, like, this young, I would say, I don't want to say girls only, the young ones, as they are coming up, I think they've become more empowered, and they have realized the importance of having their own money. So I would say yes, it's becoming transactional, and no, because I feel they can still learn and know that relationships are not supposed to be transactional. They're supposed to be friendship based, so that they're able to grow and bring these things together. The monetary thing, because I believe it's a big thing, the big elephant in the room that is making things not work. Because if I feel I have to get a man who is financially stable, but if we agree, the man might be financially stable and things go wrong and maybe the financial status goes down. Yes. What happens? Does it mean the relationship the marriage or the relationship ends at that? So we need
My ladies who say the big no, that is a question for you.
We need to take this from two perspectives. Yeah. Yes, he's financially stable and you're not financially stable. What happens? Then number two, you're both financially stable. With him, he's a bit higher than you. Then something happens, maybe the job goes down or the business goes off. What happens? Does it mean the relationship ends at that? So we need to take it from two perspectives, putting yourself in the shoe of this man being financially stable and you're not financially stable. He is financially stable, he's supporting you. If something happens and he doesn't have the money, tomorrow he wakes up, he doesn't have the money, what happens? Does it mean the relationship ends, the marriage ends, you walk away, or you'll stand by him and come together and think of how to go about it?
Nicole.
So I think that is what you need to, that is where we need, these young people need to have in mind.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think having that in mind, we'll be able to make the marriages work because it's workable.
Okay.
The moment we don't think about money or stability, financial stability, I think that is what our young ones have put so much in the basket, and that is why maybe most of them don't think of getting married now. They still need to establish themselves financially, professionally before they get into that union of marriage, which is a bit dangerous. And I would urge you to rethink. And yeah.
Okay. Nicole, Kevin, you know, just from what has been raised, like then the finances out of nowhere stop, you know, and this is someone who was already financially okay, and then the finances get cut in one or the other. Is that the end of the relationship? Is that the end of the marriage?
Me?
Okay.
To me personally, I believe that in every marriage there are highs and lows. So you will not be like financially stable from the beginning to the end. Yes.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still standing on my answer.
No.
Yeah, no.
You're not being taken in any way.
Yeah, because it's a must. He have to be financially stable. So a part of that, let me say that, as she said, for example, he lost the job, what, something happened. Even me, I have to be financially stable. So we have to, he have to bring something, and then me bring something. So that time, we will use mine. But we will use mine, so have to be.
Okay. All right, allow me to read some of the questions or the comments that are coming in. Remember, you can also be able to comment on this conversation. The question is right there on your screen, and the WhatsApp number is also right there. So someone is saying your definition of the term marriage will either make it a priority or a privilege for you. So it's, for this one, it depends with how you describe marriage. Another one here says, their name is Mbaka. Do you agree with me that most young people prefer to have family planning than to have children? They prefer to have sex than to get married, rather. Okay. There's this other one here. It's very long. I don't know if I'll read the whole of it, but it's saying, yes, I believe marriage is still a priority for many young people, but the way we view it has changed. Growing up in Nyanza, I was raised in a community where marriage was often seen as an important milestone in life. However, as a young person who has pursued education, studied law, and interacted with young people from different backgrounds, I have come to appreciate that people now have different timelines and priorities. For many young people today, marriage is still something they desire, but they also want to first build their careers, become financially independent, understand themselves, and achieve their personal goals. Young women in particular are increasingly aware that marriage should be a choice rather than an obligation. So I would say marriage remains a priority, but it is no longer necessarily the first priority. That is Lynette Odero. She says, say hi to the ladies from Kenya Girl Guides Association. Bravo.
Thank you.
All right, let me read one more here. Someone is saying, hello, Malaba tuning in from Mombasa. There is a lady who's claiming that they need to be stable first before getting married, and life isn't that fair to everyone. So does it mean if she won't be stable, she won't get married? Who said they have to be stable there? If you won't be stable, does that equal to you not getting married at all?
For me, like, yes, is my culture. Firstly, in my culture, marriage is still first priority there. But for me, is not. First priority is my stability. And yeah, if I'm not stable that time, it's come to my parents, come to my family. They will force me to get married. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
But
So-
firstly, yeah, I'm going to be stable in my way.
So if you don't get, from his question, they're saying life is sometimes not always fair. So you might not get to be stable. So say you are in your 40s and you're not yet stable.
Yeah.
You're not looking at marriage still, standing her ground.
Yes.
All right. Now, you know, nowadays, someone would argue that for younger people, we are choosing too much. You know, that's why maybe we are delaying. And I don't know if the word is delay, but maybe that's why we are delaying the marriage bit, because we are afraid of choosing the wrong person. And we are too afraid to the point where you're now extremely choosy that you end up not really picking anyone to settle with. Would you say that that is the case? Would you say that you as a younger person are choosing extremely? Or maybe if I may just ask you, what are you looking for you to say that this man is okay for me to get married to?
I haven't really thought about it that much, but from how I grew up, my dad was financially stable. He helped my mom get stable also. But as a husband, he was a good father, he's a good father, but as a husband, I can say he wasn't really well matured. It sounds bad, but from what I've seen, he wasn't really well matured, because he wasn't really that good of a husband, because they argue sometimes. And no.
Yeah. So for you, there are specific things you are looking for, or when that time comes, there are specific things that you will be looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say you're looking for? Because now they're saying you young people are choosing too much. So what are you looking for you to say that, okay, this man is good enough for me to get married to?
Oh, as you said before, we are establishing, let me say that, as a Gen Z, I don't think so we are choosing much. For example, for me, the first things, let me say that is love. The second one, as I said before, financially stable. The third one, no, I think that too is enough. Just love and financially stable is enough.
Everything else with this two things there.
Yeah, we handle.
Yeah. What about you? What are you looking for?
Okay. So what I look for in a relationship is a person who understands me. Understanding, love, of course, and respect. That's the most. Because if respect and understanding is not there, I don't think it will go far. Me, I want a long-term relationship, not just like 5 years and end. That's why, for me personally, it is delayed to get into the relationship or into the marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, you're delaying it because you want to make the right choice.
Yes.
But who says the more you wait, then you'll find the actual person? It's a bit of a, you know, uncertainty there.
Yeah. I totally understand that, but there comes a time, like here, it could be the right person. So you can just grab that opportunity, mold it, even you are like the opposite side, you will mold and you can get along well. It's a great partnership.
What about you?
Okay, for me, like respect, firstly, love, and care. It's really important in a relationship, whatever you are in husband-wife. If that person is understanding and loving each other, those relationship is compatible. Like is a complete. Those person is complete each other. So for me, yes, those things I'm looking forward.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this from our elder women, and they keep saying, stop looking too much, stop choosing to, just find that Mr. Left and make him Mr. Right, and life continues. Anyway, from your point of view, would you say that also personal freedom is is also forming basis of why maybe now younger people are taking much longer before committing to marriage, because now one feels like the marriage is competing with their desire to have their freedom. You know, they feel like for them to be in a stable relationship, or rather a marriage, it's like they are sacrificing their freedom.
Yeah, I would say that they would feel like they're being tied up, like it's like being imprisoned. First of all, their freedom is compromised, and freedom, I think the perspective of their freedom is a totally different thing. Career is one thing. Most of our young people, they really focus on their career. That is why they are, I would say, they are money-minded, for lack of a better word. So it's like maybe when they get into, and even in relationship, leave alone marriage, even in relationship, you'll find that most of their relationship don't last long, because maybe they feel the other partner is like confining them, making them like enslaving them to this relationship. And they feel like there's so much that they need to explore, there's so much that they need to do, and when they're tied up into this relationship or marriage, it becomes like they will not do what they are expected to do. And so you find like in marriage, you see, when you get into marriage, there are things that you have to shed off, the things that you don't need to do, starting with the dressing, the kind of friends you relate with, so many things. So you find like maybe if I tie myself into this marriage, it means that I have to drop my friends, because of course we have to agree as partners, we have to agree the kind of friends we relate with and the kind of things that we need to do, like partying, and so there's so many things that you need to drop when you get into a marriage agreement. So I think this is what is making the young ones feel, I think, insecure, kind of. Like when I get into marriage, there are so many things that I'll not be able to do. So probably the freedom will be compromised. Yeah.
All right. Allow me to read more comments that are coming in. Someone is saying, between the man and his money, which one do today's women love? Are you loving the man, or are you loving his money? All right. And another one here says, hello, my name is Simon Obote. My viewpoint is big reasons. The big reasons it's delayed, not cancelled. Money, weddings, houses, and raising kids are expensive in Kenya and globally. Youth unemployment makes people wait. The dating culture, that's up situationships, and I need to experience life fast mindset is also among the reasons why it's delayed now. And then the other one, they're saying it's fear of divorce. Young people saw their parents' marriages struggle, so they are more careful. They do counseling and live together fast. But the desire is still there for young people to marry. Main problem is unemployment and not being financially stable. That is according to Simon Obote. Thank you for your message. Another one here says, with merits and criteria, is the Kenya Girl Guides Association using to, what merits and criteria is the Kenya Girl Guide Association using to teach the young girls to be morally fit, upright, and responsible? Maybe you can answer that.
Okay, thank you for that question, and thank you for that recognition. We do most of our activities in schools. We deal with schools mostly, and we have different levels of girls. We start from the youngest, which is 3 years, to the oldest. So in these categories, we have different programs that we do, life skills being key, where we mentor girls and we nurture them. And mostly we do partnerships with organizations that deal with girls. So yeah, that's what we do basically. And like, for example, the girls who are here, it's an exchange program. So they bring what they have from their countries, they come with it and help us empower the girls. So we have different programs that we do for the girls. And in all the programs we do, we have a variety of them. We have the key thing, which is guiding, and we have life skill that comes in through in every training that we do and in every program that we do.
All right, I
Yes.
believe that viewer has been answered. And I am still on you. You know, there's something that has also come up as we were having this conversation, that sometimes the experiences of other people is what is hindering maybe young people from committing to settling down. Some even personal experience from what you saw your parents going through in their marriage. So would you say the rise of divorce and the rise of unhappy marriages is contributing to what they are now terming the delay? I want to put it in quotes because I don't know when it's the right time really.
Yeah, I would say it's among the biggest contributing factors because most of our young children come from single parent families.
Yeah.
And you'd find the reasons for this single parent. You see, like death is something that we cannot have control over. Yeah. And other situations, like when you listen to the young ones, I mentioned that I'm a teacher. When you listen to the young ones, when they tell you what happens in their homes, you feel for them. But you see, it's also out of control. It's nothing we can do. So I would say it's also a contributing factor because of what they have seen going on in their families, in their homes. They have seen what their fathers have gone through, what their mothers have gone through. And so and you find that they have not had someone to share the experiences with. They have not gone through sessions of maybe counseling to be able to have a closure on the situations they've gone through. And so it's a contributing factor. And also you find that we have our young ones, they don't have mentors, especially the boy child. I would say the boy child, as much as we are dealing with girls, we find that as they grow up, they have grown up maybe being taken care of by their mothers. So you see that aspect of a father figure being there, being able to mentor them to be men, grow up being men, responsible men, is missing in their life. So the boy grows up knowing what the mother taught him or her, and so it maybe instills fear. So it's a big thing that is affecting the young ones. Yes.
All right. Allow me to also read more coming in. I want us to read almost all of them. So keep sending them. One is saying, I think this thing about funds in marriage, people take it as a simple thing, but we intend to assume, and that's why we see so many children suffering, because you assumed that we will build together and yet you haven't, and ending up making mistakes, and people suffer and hurt others to settle for someone who can't make a family. And if you don't have funds, stop marrying or getting children before you have a job. Someone else here is saying vijana wanakuwa single juu ya hali ya maisha ni ngumu. That is Swahili to say that many young people are single because of the economy. You know, life is difficult now. Another one here says, the more a woman waits to get married, the more she is getting older. And the more she gets older, the higher chances of her attractiveness fading. I don't know what you would think about that. And, you know, in line with that, I would like to get to hear from each one of you, you know, being that you're coming from different countries. Is there, from your country, is there a specific time that has been set that this is the right time for marriage? From your country and just how you're living, do you feel like there's that age that you feel this has been set, by this time I should be married?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Rwanda.
Yeah, Rwanda. Yeah, in Rwanda, government said that 22 up, you have to get, you can get married. Not under 22, no, you are not allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
From 22?
Yeah, from 22.
Impressive.
Yes.
All right. What about you in Uganda?
Okay, for us in Uganda, there's no age set for marriage. Yes, you can get married anytime as long as you're not below like 18. That's yeah, 20, 19 and above, you can get married.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. How about Zambia?
My country, there's peer pressure for marriage.
Okay.
At least by the age of 25, someone is scared if they're not married.
Really?
So like, yeah, 23, 25. Yes.
How about Bangladesh?
Bangladesh is difficult because, parents forcefully those girls, especially under 14. And yeah, early marriages are happening very much in Bangladesh, but governor set us like 18 to up. But in rural area, early marriage is happening every time, every moment. That's why we are fearing about those marriage life.
Yeah, I see why you would fear, because you know, if you're being forced into it, it's different. How about Madagascar?
In my country, there is no set like age, no, but it's just above 18, and sometimes even 18, they still need the parents' approval, like, do you approve this marriage? And just like the society pressure, the pressure, like when you are in your 25, 26, 27, it's the society who pressure you. When are you getting married? When you introduce the earlier, we always get that question. So it's just the pressure. And some people get into the marriage because of the pressure.
The pressure. Yeah, and even going by the message that I read, whereby this gentleman is saying, the more a woman ages, the less attractive you are. That is according to him.
According to him.
Yes, of course that is according to him. That is according to him. So what would be your take on the same? Are we just rushing women maybe to get married? Are we rushing them to get married simply because you want them to get married? You know, is that something that maybe we should do less of? You know, the people who say after 30, then the lady.
Okay, I would say, like, the decisions these young ones have come up with. Because you see, I think in the Kenyan constitution, we have the come we stay thing. It's there. So you'll find that some of them are even staying. They're already staying. And parents are not aware. So you just come to realize that your son or your daughter is already staying with a man. But I would say the traditional aspect, I remember you asked the traditional part of it when we started. I think it helped. It really helped a lot. But you see, as it's fading, culture is a bit fading, kind of fading a bit. I would say it's important that we have that culture bit of it in us, so that we are able to value. Because you see, these days, even a girl would choose, I'd rather have a child with someone who is able to take care of the child. There's no need of me getting married, which is quite, I would say, dangerous. Yeah, which is also if I am seeing, I can see a friend of mine has 2 children and their father is taking care of the children, and she's not married. Why would I get married? So there are so many circumstances that are evolving around the marriage thing, and I think that is why it's making it like it's on a sinking ground. But we pray and hope that our young ones will embrace marriage. There's no need of fearing. Let's take it and get into it. Even the issue of getting into marriage, you find like a couple has wedded, 6 months down the line, they're already separating. And you'll find that probably the thing that is causing the separation is the finances.
Yeah, it's the leading cause of divorce.
Exactly.
Yes.
And some misunderstanding, whereby one would not want to go down. We all want to be loud. We all want to be heard. So that is also another thing. So I think the young ones, they should take the marriage from, I know our parents, the way they took marriage, we would say it's ancient, but it worked. That is why you'd hear someone tell you, I've been in marriage for 50 years, for 20 years, and all that, and it's working. So I think the young ones should embrace it and just get into this union and support each other, listen to each other, because you see, you're coming from different backgrounds. You people are all grown up. You're coming, you see, when you're coming together as grown-ups, you have different backgrounds, different character, different personalities, and so you have to understand each other, you have to embrace each other so that you're able to be compatible and live together.
All right.
Yes.
We are running out of time, so we should be finalizing on our conversation. Maybe just to hear from you as a final remark, if you could change one thing, maybe a traditional or cultural norm or expectation about marriage as a young person, what would you like to change?
What would I like to change is education. We empower all the young generation, both boys and girls, to be a great person, great partner for one another. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'll get to you with the same question, but allow me to read this. Someone is saying, to me, marriage should be normalized and be in the law, that at a certain age, one should marry or get married, failure to which he or she will be answerable. Because the people, mostly women, who say they want to be independent are the ones becoming aunties, the so-called sponsors, and they are the ones who have ruined 50% mindset of young men who should be now in marriage. Okay, this one is taking it very seriously. Should be punishable by law if you don't get That's an interesting perspective. All right, someone here says, the view of marriage from the current generation is viewed differently. As a counselor, I tend to think that the priority for most is independence, financial stability. I also think that the social media and the peer influence, the social media and peers influence their view. I end by saying that marriage works if you understand what value you are looking for in a partner, seek advice from a mentor, looking forward to counsel anyone who needs counseling. That is Princess Zulu Wambwere. Thank you for that. Another one here says, I'm Ida. For marriage, I can say yes, but it competes with other priorities. Young people aged between 18 and 34 say they would like to marry someday, even though only 20% of young adults say marriage was extremely or very important to living a fulfilling life. Career satisfaction and close friendships ranked considerably. Okay, good insight there. Let me read two more. Before you say no, rethink, because you have to understand where the finances are coming from. He might be financially stable after gambling and does not have the brains to make that money generate. It is important to understand the vision of this man and his capability in future rather than looking at a current situation. Look for a loving visionary man with a reasonable education level. He can even use your finances to expand your financial boundaries and have a happy marriage. He can use yours to expound it, you know. One last one here. I'm tuning in from Meru County. My name is Andre Mugambi, and from my point of view, it remains in my mind that marriage is not really a priority, but it is a duty. Okay. In our nation today, 80% of people are not really getting married, but they are just getting engaged in it. That means only around 10% of married people can last for at least 10 years in their relationship. Most of the Gen Zs never know this. Actually, these days, they are not fearing diseases, but pregnancy. Okay. Marriage should be optional. The rate at which girls are giving birth is worrying. That is the last question that or comment that we are getting to look at. Let me finalize with you on the same question. What would you like to see change from the traditional expectation we have of marriage?
Education.
Okay.
Firstly, I agree with her. And also society.
Okay. What about you?
Equality. Men and women are equal and both can make a marriage work.
I love that. Yes. What about you?
I also think the equality part, yes, man and woman should be equal. Yes.
What about you?
Even me, I agree with them. Education, gender balance, and equality together. Yeah.
That's what you ladies feel should change when we talk about marriage. Allow women to have the same equal rights as well and opportunities. Allow both genders to have education, to get educated well. I believe that's what has come out mainly. Yeah, so that is what your take is on this. And it was a pleasure having you in studio this morning to talk about this. I want to introduce my colleague to this conversation, to Kimalizia, as we finish. That is Mike Megwe. Mike, yes. I am sure you were following the conversation, and if you listen to the ladies and what their take is on matters marriage, I don't know about you. Do you feel like marriage is still a priority?
I think the perspective perspective has changed in as far as marriage is concerned. And this regards the young generation. It's not, from where I stand, it's not really a priority. Because some of them have ambitions and they feel like if I get into marriage, I'll be tied down.
Yeah.
If I get committed to someone, I'll be tied down and I'll not be able to achieve what I want. Secondly, there's also the aspect of social media. It has changed that perspective as to how marriage should be. Like the way she said, there's a lot of fake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake information on social media regarding marriage, the perception of marriage, how marriage should look like.
Yeah.
That has changed a lot. So I don't think it's really a priority. Some of them are getting into it with the intention of leaving. So one foot in, 1 foot out.
You're just timing.
You're just trying.
Yeah.
But I think there's one thing I really admire is that for those who think marriage does not work, if you have both your parents together, ask yourself, what are they doing differently to be there where they are today in terms of how they have done their marriage? And there's some comment here I've seen. Marriage is not a race. The right marriage at the right time is more important than marrying early. A young person can focus on building a strong foundation while remaining open to love and family. That is Edward. Another one, he's saying, money and relationship go hand in hand. You can't just say we marry without considering mutual growth. For marriage, money is a need. Kiongozi MCA, I'm aspirant. That is Tanui Kevin. The aspect of money plays a very big role.
A huge role
in this, because at the end of the day, we have to agree, love will not put food on the table.
But I agree with you on that, but I'm like, this wasn't the case like
back in the
30
day.
years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so what has changed now that it has become such a priority?
I think people have become more open to information that has been there. I want to attribute it somewhat to advent of social media and the explosion of information. We are in the information age. People have become more probably educated, probably open-minded to look at things differently. Yeah.
There's also the question of, and I think this is just a rhetoric to leave you guys thinking about it. People are saying, or rather it appears to be that girls have really been empowered. You know, women empowerment is a thing now. Girls are really empowered. But are we leaving the boys behind? Are we getting to a point where we are having very empowered women, but we have younger men or boys who now do not know how to handle these empowered women? Is that also the case?
That has to be something to think about. Yeah.
I guess that is a question that we can have maybe in our subsequent shows coming up right here on Family Check. Maybe this is a conversation that we will have. Anyway, this is where we get to say goodbye, and this is where we get to end a Good Morning Kenya this morning. Thank you so much for being part and parcel of our conversation. We do this each and every weekday morning, so always be sure to join us. My name is Vivian Dagwa.
And my name is Mike Migu, and our political segment focused on Vision 2060. And we were talking just about how we can agree on the future, and the conversation continues. So stay tuned to KBC Channel 1, and thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwe.
Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.
The wait is over. KBC Iko Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers, moving closer to you. Your station, your service.
Ndio Ndiyo soda yako.
Nileta ice cubes.
Ungependa ikuwe baridi ama moto?
Nini bana wewe?
Ukiniangalia niko na panga.
Kwa kichwa.
Nimemalizia hapo.
Haya.
Ndio unataka na nifikie hapo ya boss. Okay.
We, unaenda wapi sasa mukaka?
Nataka nisikie kutoka kwa punda mwenyewe.
Hiyo ndege inakuja saa 6 usiku.
Isije ikawa ni kesho.
Sasa wewe ndio unajua nimesikia vibaya, si ndio?
Niende na gari.
Ulikuwa unataka uende na kichwa. Wewe rudi hapa.
Ni yeye alituambia ona.
Wewe kwenda. Mwoga nani alikwambia hii maneno?
For Game On today, I'm privileged to have with me the first ladies coach for the women's national team. That is Starlets, and that is Beldin Odemba. You have met her so many times during our football analysis, but she has coached so many football teams, and she'll tell us about it. But first of all, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I like that. Hey, Beldin, how are you?
I'm fine.
I'm happy to see you with the national team, Starlets. It's a privilege. Just briefly, just tell me about your journey in football.
I started playing football way back when I was 12 years old. I played football and I started coaching, but just basic coaching. You play for the under 15 team, you coach an under 13 team, you play for an under 16 team, you coach an under 14 team. So it was just basic coaching with no coaching knowledge, but it steered passion. After a few years, I stopped coaching. I went to management, football management, and then I did some journalism, that is print media. And then I came back to the pitch to coach the junior teams. So I coached the boys' junior teams, and then I got one girls' team in Kariobangi. And then from that, I got a job in coaching. So I moved from Mta to now coaching an academy, that is Kariobangi Sharks. Then after Kariobangi Sharks, I went to FC Leopards Youth, coaching still Highway Secondary School. That is what a lot of people know me from, where a lot of people know me from. So it has been just a journey of pushing myself each and every day, getting classes here and there. We thank FKF that nowadays there are a lot of classes, coaching course classes. So it has been a good journey for us. They've made it a little bit easy for me until I've been in the national teams benches, but never as a head coach. Once as an assistant coach, most of the time as the team manager. I've done a lot of administration work, and then now I moved totally to the technical side. So my first assignment was the Kenya National Under 18, which we were supposed to play Sekafa, but we were not able to due to a lot of logistics and the school games, timings. It was a lot. And then after that, I got the privilege to come to the senior team. Not an easy task, not a hard task. It's just I'm looking for an easy word, like a transition. So slowly moving from this category to this other category. And so far, I thank God it has been a good journey for me.
When you look at your playing career, you look at yourself when you are playing and now as a coach, how does it compare?
Good thing is that if you're a coach who ever played, you already have the basics, you already understand the basics. That doesn't mean that you cannot be a coach if you never played, you can be. If you understand football, you can. But at least you get some basics, and sometimes you get the feel. So you want to push your players, but you've been there, you know how much you can push them, you know when it is too much, and you have that balance. So.
And now, if for those who don't know Beldin, she was with Highway, and that is, I think, that is when everybody got to know about her, and they achieved quite a lot locally and in East Africa. But you're supposed to go to Morocco. What happened?
Yes. We were supposed to go to Morocco, but I don't know where to place it. The thing is, we did not get funds. We do not know who was supposed to give us funds. we were leaning on the Kenya Secondary School Games Association to do a budget for us with the ministry or on behalf of the school, but they did not. So we had to source funds on our own. We tried through the governor, and he had promised that he was going to deliver, but then some things just happened and it was not possible for us. So it was due to financial constraints that we didn't make it.
But you have achieved a lot with Highway. Just briefly tell us about that.
Okay, Highway is my project. Sometimes I see people saying that anacoach Highway, anacoach wapi. Highway is my project. It's like a baby that we've given birth to. But it didn't start in Highway, it started in Kangema High School. So I have these players who are playing in junior categories. They go to school until class 8, and then after class 8, they do not have, parents are not financially able to take them to the next level. So I started a project of looking for schools for those boys, making sure that they go to school. And I went to a number of schools, but then Highway gave it to me as a project. So they allowed me to bring players, a good number of players every year. Right now I have more than 30 players at the Highway Secondary School who are given scholarship. They're not paying anything at the school, and they're playing soccer for the school, and at the same time they're doing well in school. So I get the best of the talent, the best that I believe, and then in return I coach them. So I don't work for Highway. I'm not paid in Highway, but it's my own project. Yes.
And you have won so many trophies, of course.
Yes, with Highway, yes, I have won a number of trophies. We've played a number of tournaments. We were once Nairobi region champions, East Africa finalists. We were hoping to go to Morocco and make it to the finals. And we're still working towards it. It's not over. The dream is not over.
You have a big assignment coming up. Just tell us about Kenya Police Women Football Club and how you want to transform them.
Coaching a women's team, a KWPL side, is a good thing for me. I'm getting experience daily. I am learning daily. I am getting difficulties daily and trying to solve. It is a coach's job to see and meet a lot of difficulties in technical, tactical, and work on them. It is something that is giving me an edge and making me better. For example, national assignments are only during FIFA calendars. That might be 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, 3 or 4 times in a year. I need somewhere to sharpen myself. I need somewhere to keep on building experience, and Kenya Police is giving me that.
Finally, in Starlets, how do you see the women's team going? We have WAFCON coming up and a lot ahead. Where do you see them going under your tutelage?
Our first hurdle is our match against Cameroon. That is the reality that we have right now. If we go past this hurdle, we'll go past all other hurdles. So I'm starting with this one. Then we are pushing it so that it all goes well. If all goes well, then I believe that we shall make more bigger and better steps.
How is the blend so far?
The blend so far is good. Dogo is an outgoing player. He's one of the players who will just come in and blend with your team any day. The blend with the international and the local players so far so good.
Your expectations in the 2 legs?
Is to make Kenyans happy. Yes.
We've been speaking to Beldin Odemba, and of course that there is a big debate about women football, and that there is a renaissance in Kenya because now we have KWPL sides which have been declared mandatory for all the clubs, which is good for football. And FIFA World Cup was this year, and there was a lot of promise. Actually, it was a very good tournament, but behind the scenes a lot was happening. Finally, when you talk about women's football and coaching, do you think we need to have female coaches or male coaches given what happened in Spain?
Coaches are just coaches. We have never had a coaching course for men and a coaching course for women. We've never had this kind of football for men or this kind of play the same football. The thing is, who gives more motivation? Who steers the team, the team's belief and the team spirit? Who can do it well? I keep on urging my fellow women coaches to just come up, show up, push the team. I'm sure we can do it, and we can do it better than men. So with the debate, it's who has the team spirit. Yes.
And finally, parting shot, who is building Lodemba, or what we see here, apart from what we see?
Building Lodemba, first of all, is a wife. I'm married, and I'm a mother of 4 kids. None of them is playing football. I just hope that the young one will play football. He loves football, the last one. And I'm a mother to a lot of kids that I did not give birth to. And I think that is the beautiful part. That I have a lot of kids out here, and we are trying each and every day, holding each other's hands, especially in football, and making sure that we change our lives. Yes.
So, for those who had hopes, ameshachukuliwa tayari. You don't have to see the ring, but ameolewa. Tumeenda, but Beldin has done a lot. She's actually very humble at it, but she's done a lot for women's football in the country, and even not just women's football, for the young kids coming up and nurturing them. So, asante sana for the work you're doing.
Asante KBC.
Tunashukuru na tutakuwa na analysis hivyo.
Nipendaga sana
Back to Yamfa. Atarudi. AFCON iko KBC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
To growth and being biggie.
Cheers. Salute. How far are we with the Arabs? Okay, so you remember the last time the conversation we had? One is left, moja imebaki. Wonderful. I just hope it was a good idea doing business with them. Wacha kuogopa bigi. I told you nda handle kila kitu. I'm not worried, I'm just being cautious.
Nataka unisikize. Nataka uwache ukora. Nataka kuwe mtu wa character. Mtu tukiona tunaheshimu tutasema huyu ni mheshimiwa Mark.
Yeah, I now understand why you hate him that much.
I need to get Yasin's shipment back.
What?
Why are you guys surprised? Have you thought about it? If I do that, those guys will think I'm a great guy to work with.
My is like a bag. I ever had you squeeze him, he never dies.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Jina! Haki watoto wa siku hizi wakiwa nasumbua. Usikose kuona Gundu KBC Channel 1 every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Ujionee hivi vituko vya watoto wa siku hizi wanaosumbua wazazi na mengine mengi. Keep it Gundu. Jina!
Wananiita Gundu, wakita wengine
A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome, and welcome to Sports Check on this 17th day of August 2026. It's one day after the conclusion of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations of Morocco 2026. A new win in the form of Cameroon and Malawi, their fairy tale story coming to a close. And also, we're getting into a week as, you know, it is with bated breath that Kenya is waiting for the 15th of September 2026. Because in Budapest, Hungary, there's going to be an announcement of the hosts of the World Athletics Championships for the year 2029 and 2031. London, Rome, Munich, and Nairobi all have presented their bids. So what is Kenya's bid story? We're going to be taking a look at that too. And also, remember, Kenya is building up to a weekend when the Malkia Strikers are going to be playing in the CAVB Women's Africa Nations Championship for the first time in 11 years. Yes, for the first time in 11 years. Kenya is going to be hosting the continent, and that's from the 22nd all the way to the 5th of September when the final is played, and that's going to be a qualifier